Baby. Let's see if the Wi-Fi holds. Wi-Fi strong, everyone. So hear me out now. Hear me out. Because this is important. I would be working on my land law work. But instead, I'm not. Wow. Incredible. Hello. Okay, are people in here? Let's get these likes moving and grooving. Hello, Mackenzie. Hello. Hello, everyone. Okay, let's keep on sending likes. Let's share it with some people. Ooh. Oh my, do we have a disagree already? Lovely. Okay, well, let's let a disagree up. Keep on sending likes while we... And then we can have a little discussion. Let's see if my Wi-Fi will hold, but keep on sending likes, everyone. Thank you so much. Hello, Tate.
Can you tell me what your name is?
Yeah, it's Will, as it would be, as my, username suggests.
That's the name. My name is Andrew.
Your name is Andrew. Oh, you're using an AI, like, voice thing.
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
Delightful. Well, we see what everyone has to deal with here. Keep on sending likes. We almost have 100 people, which is better than what we've done since TikTok doesn't like my account. So, let's keep moving and grooving. Bro's coffee was wrong temp and taking it on you, real. Imagining for the much time on you. Yeah. Anyway, okay, we got almost 130 people on here. Great. There are guest requests down here if you disagree with any of these things. I'm generally just a leftist as well, so if you want to come debate a leftist, if you want to come roast the libs, come up and talk to me. Let's get it moving, grooving, and slaying. Anyway, how's everyone's day been? We've been having a good day. I've been extremely tired. Hello. I can. What? We can barely hear you if you have horrendous audio. Yeah, a little bit. Anyway, thank you so much. Okay, we got 2K likes. Gorgeous. Agnostic atheist, so I observe there's no evidence for God, and therefore I don't believe in one. Send guest requests if you disagree with any of this. This will be a dead live. I don't care. Hi, everyone. I'm really annoyed with TikTok right now, but it's fine. Bro, don't come in and ask questions like that.
Now my microphone should be straight.
Yeah, what's up?
All right, bro. Why are you like killing babies? I just want to know.
I don't.
Oh, wait, hold on. I'm high as fuck. Wait.
Oh, okay. We can't have
Wait.
So the person Israel or Arab, so that's not the conflict at hand. The question is if I believe in Palestinian liberation, which I do. Do I support the actions taken recently? No. But do I support Palestinian liberation? Absolutely. Anyway, you can send likes. Thank you. I did get a haircut. It was too much. Nah, bro. What do I mean by Palestinian liberation? I feel like it's relatively self-evident, but by and large, liberation and sovereignty to the Palestinian people. End of the Israeli apartheid state. I think a two-state solution is the only viable current solution. So if there was I don't think a one-state solution is viable currently. Ideologically, I would support a one-state solution, but that's not fundamentally possible right now. What kind of law do you want to practice? I kind of want to go into politics. So a two-state solution is more viable than a one-state solution. I didn't say it was viable. And also, Israel has moved its settlements out before, right? The Sinai Peninsula, it moved and deconstructed its settlements for Egypt. They can do the same thing with the settlements in the West Bank. They're not really two, anyway. The two ethnicities. Yeah, I don't think they'll get along. Great. We can stop actively stoking violence in that area, though. This isn't just like violence between ethnicities, right? It's a conflict that has been actively provoked and pushed by the West and by the East, but maintained and set up by colonial powers. Oh. I'm aware that they have agency, right? But when their immigration is actively pushed by the West, right, at least some are going to follow. And then when false promises are given by the British, right, they have responsibility for those false promises. Anyway, keep on sending guest requests, everyone. Yeah. Right after actively encouraging and and allowing it. And then they ban Jewish immigration and then continue to allow it at post-World War II, right? What false promises were given, right? A guarantee of military support for a Jewish founded nation. Not all after World War II. Their position did switch at certain times during post-World War II. But really the false promise that I'm referring to, right? The false promise I'm referring to is the consistent support for a Jewish state. Hello,
Will, I have to ask you this. Why do you consider confused girls to be men?
What do you mean confused girls? The false promise. Anyway, what do you mean confused girls?
These aren't men. They aren't men. They're not similar.
Who are you referring to?
What?
I don't know what you mean. Who are you referring to? Will A send a guest request and come debate? I'm happy to speak on the issue, right? I believe that Jews, primarily European descent, have perfectly well right to self-determination. Not in that area, though. But once again, right, that's not the question at hand. The question at hand is what we do now. And the active point is that we should take all active efforts to de-escalate the situation, which starts with America actively reducing its support for Israel, because Israel has consistently shown its willingness to violate human rights and violate the human rights of the Palestinians on an organized institutional level. And we can call on the East to do the same, but we have to stop our side as well. What is agnostic atheist a person who's... I don't doubt that the Arabs violate Jewish rights. We all agree on that. The point is that we only have control over one side. We are funding one side. We are responsible for one side. So how we choose to engage with that one side is on us. When the Israelis commit human rights violations, that's the Americans funding and supporting human rights violations. When the Arabs commit human rights violations, that's not us committing those human rights violations. So the question is what we do about the Israeli response. I don't understand the cognitive dissonance.
Yo,
What's up?
what's up, man? I'm trying to debate
On what?
trans men or men. I disagree.
Great, let's talk about it.
All right. Can I hear your points first, or you want me to go?
I mean, I believe that trans men are men because they fit at least one valid definition of a man.
One ballot. What is that?
A person who identifies with the social construction in their society composed of like masculine characteristics.
All right. So you're going by the identification. You don't care about the biological part of it. I'm kind of
Well, I just
curious.
think that identification. I just think that identification is at least one valid definition.
Do you just like personally hold identification like as something like high, like that's a high value to you, what you identify
I don't
as?
think evaluative. I don't think evaluative judgments is how we do definitions.
Not even, yeah, that was a genuine question though. Not even talk about your
Yeah.
gender.
So yeah.
So you
No, the
value
evaluative judgment on
identification.
self-identification is not really my argument.
I mean, I guess if like you really care, that's almost unhealthy in my opinion. If you care that much what other people think about you, and identification is your like, that's your big value, and that's like the
I
problem with
didn't. Once
America
again, that's
right
not my
now.
argument. I never said that it was the big value.
It comes
I
with
just
my
said that it
point.
was the defining
It comes with
feature,
my
but
point
that's
though.
not an evaluative question.
But it comes with my point though.
Well, because
Everyone in America,
your misrepresentation of my
I'm about
argument
to
can't
tell
come
you
with your
my
point.
point though.
Then make your point, not make up my point.
The identification is a huge issue in America, and everyone wants to be so valued. Everyone wants to be somebody that they're not, ideally. Like social media, and they go and they catfish and they do all this bullshit. And so catfishing was the first huge issue in America because of this, right? Because of identification, because everyone wants to be something they're not. And now it got so bad, they're even becoming men. They're becoming women, something they wanted to be, but they weren't originally. That is my fucking point. Like, that is the problem with America.
Let's see
Everyone
if,
wants to
sorry,
be
just to
somebody
cut
they're
you off
not.
there.
Like,
Let's use
fans
TikTok friendly
don't want to be
language. Just
themselves.
because you won't be allowed
Yeah,
on my
my
platform
bad
if we
for
don't
my
use TikTok
language.
friendly language.
My bad.
Thank
My
you.
bad.
But you can continue.
Oh yeah, I could continue. All right, but so like yeah, I was yambling, bro. You can go ahead. Or you want me to go? Or where was
Yeah,
I at?
great. I mean, you didn't really make a point. You just kind of, as you said, rambled. It has no,
I
you
think
have no
check.
argumentative, you
I
have
got my
like
point.
actually nothing of value was said. You said that people want to be things that they're not,
Identification in
which, yeah,
America
lots of
is
people want to
so
be things
huge.
that they're not. I would like to be wealthy. Uh, is that a bad thing?
Then you
No.
can't. But you
Okay.
can't. But you can't be wealthy. You can identify that you're wealthy
No, I know, but so
by buying
wanting
rich
to be one
clothes.
second,
By
wanting
buying
to be
rich
something.
clothes.
I know
I
this
could
is
buy
the
a
nonsense
pussy.
of what you're
I
saying.
could buy one.
What,
Or I can't say that, my bad. I can buy a coochie. Oh, I'm a woman now. I can buy Dior. Oh, I'm rich now. That's my point. Like, apply
but it's
that.
nonsense, isn't it? Because wanting to
That's
be something
not
that you're not
nonsense,
isn't
my
a
bad.
bad
I think
thing.
being trans is nonsense. I think that's
Well, you feel that
nonsense.
way, but it's wrong.
And you
Like, once
feel
again,
that way too. You feel my
one
point.
second. Hear me out now.
Yeah, I got you.
Wanting to be something that you're not is not a bad thing.
Why?
I would like to have a college degree. I don't, so I am motivated to work for it. I want to be
Yeah.
a college graduate, but I'm not, so I work for it. So, Brando, if the ultimate evil is wanting to be something that you're not, right? Then we're just going to have that discussion. Do you want to have that discussion?
Yeah, I'm down.
Okay, so do you think it's wrong for me to want to be a college graduate?
No.
Argument done. Do you have another argument?
No, well, you got to put it in multiple perspectives. You can't go one example.
I can,
Like,
because one example defeats
I'm
your whole
saying,
entire
but
argument.
that can definitely be unhealthy. You don't think that there's obvious goals you can make. I don't even think that's identification. Your example doesn't really apply to my point. You know what I
Well,
mean?
it does, because the way you phrased it, people wanting to be something that they are
Getting
not.
a college, getting a college degree is very possible.
Yeah.
Me being a woman isn't necessarily possible. I
Once
wasn't
again, that's how
born
you
that way.
feel, Brando. Engage with the argument that
If
I
I want to
actually.
be black, I can't be black, my boy. That will
Well, that's
never
totally
happen.
different, isn't it? But Brando, engage with the argument that I actually
But I
made.
want
Wait,
I
one
can
second.
identify as it.
Engage with the argument that I actually made. Move beyond your feelings. I
I'm
need you to
trying to.
let
I'm
go.
trying to,
I
bro.
need you to let go of the masculine ego that's been taught to you and just engage with the facts over the feelings. I said that there was at least one valid definition. Can you prove to me that your definition is correct and the only valid definition?
Of what? The
Man, woman,
identification?
gender.
Man, woman, gender. So now we're going to that point.
I
Yeah,
mean,
man,
it's the point
woman,
I made,
gender.
and I expected you to respond
So
to.
gender has changed over the years. Can we agree on that? The definition of gender has completely changed. Can we agree on that?
Yeah, absolutely.
It changed. Change isn't always good, my boy, and you are deceived. Not you specifically, but a lot of people are deceived. Not everything changing in America is good. I personally don't think all
I
the
don't think
AI stuff
everything
is
changing in
good.
America is good. This is a non-argument.
Yeah, that's the point though.
So
Not
engage
everything
with things,
is
hear me
good.
out, engage
It's
with
an
things that I
example, like
say.
you're using your examples
Engage with
though.
arguments that I
My
make.
example I gave is the example you were giving. You
Wait,
get
but
my point?
Brando, I
Your
never said
example of
that
a
change
college
was always
degree
good,
doesn't
so you're
apply to
not
your
arguing with
PP
anyone.
and your coochie. We're talking about sexual, like my orientation, sexual orientation. That doesn't apply to getting a college degree. That's a different kind of
Well,
change.
because I was responding, so
That's
hear
for
me out
your
now. That's
education.
because I was responding
I'm
to the
I'll,
argument that you made.
let's skip this because I don't think this is really gonna get anywhere. Do you think so? What benefits do you think you get from being a transgender? Like
From
what
being from
benefits?
being transgendered?
Like yeah, what do you like? I'm just genuinely curious.
I
I'm
don't
sorry if I'm
think
coming off
so. I
as a
don't
dick.
think I would prefer to be transgendered.
I'm just saying in general, what do you think a transgender gets out of it beneficially? Their identification or what? Like, what do you beneficially think comes from that?
So
Changing
from what?
their
From being
biological.
transgendered by comparison to being cis, or from getting
We're
gender
not
affirming care
comparing
and doing a
anything. It's a
transgender
genuine
and
question.
doing a
We're
transgender
not,
surgery?
we're not changing anything. I'm saying being a transgender, yeah, switching from, isn't that a transgender? You switch your PP to a coochie, you want to be a different gender. Or is there multiple
So that
like
would be
ways
a
of you
gender
changing?
transition surgery.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
What
so
do
a
they get out
trans
of it?
a
What do they
trans
get out of Brando?
um yeah, but
Well, the
wait,
day. So that's
I'm
once again.
so
This is
confused
facts
with
of 1 second.
transgender.
You asked
You
me a
can just
question. 1 second.
identify
You
and
asked me a
you're
question. What do I
transgender.
expect you
I
want?
got you.
An
I got
answer. Can
you.
I give an answer?
Yeah, but I'm just so
Great. So
confused
let me
what a
give an answer.
transgender
Thank
is
you.
now. All right,
What did
go
they get
ahead.
out of it? The data very clearly shows that they get decreased suicidality, anxiety, or depression.
Okay, so yeah, the mental health aspect.
Massive reduction in
No,
suicidality.
I agree. Mental health is huge. I'm not even dogging on that. But mental health aspect. So that's probably the biggest thing from the
Well,
transgender
it saves their
switching.
lives, yes. So
The
when
cool thing
mental health,
about that,
like in
though,
this case
the
with
cool thing about
suicidality,
that.
starts affecting physical health, right? Then it is also a physical health risk. See how that works?
So, wait, so with their mental health aspect, say someone's just so depressed because they're not a woman or they're not a man and they want to switch. That's their main thing. And that's once they change and they become transgender, it goes away.
Not ubiquitously, but it reduces, right?
Reduce.
This is not a black and white world, but by and large,
Antidepressants are
we
way
show a 1 second,
cheaper
we show
soon,
a
though.
sharp
Anti
reduction in suicidality,
Antidepressants way
anxiety, and
cheaper
depression.
and healthier for your body, though. Like, let's be
What?
real. Antidepressants, working out, talking with my dog, barking at me, good stuff like that can help my mental health as well instead of
Brando, you
doing
are
a
aware
whole
that those are
surgery on my
already
body.
1 second. You're aware that those are already on the course of treatment for gender dysphoria, right?
For gender dysphoria, what do you mean? I'm talking about the mental health aspect. I'm saying
Which
you
is the
can
gender
change
dysphoria.
mental
One
health
second.
in
It seems you don't
healthier
actually know
ways.
anything about what you're saying
I'm
because
saying you can, you're being disrespectful though. I've been really nice. Like
wait, calling
you're
out your
saying I don't
ignorance
know
is
what
not
I'm saying,
disrespectful when you
bro.
are in
I'm
fact ignorant.
saying your mental health can change in better and more beneficial ways.
Wait, but that's
Besides
one second.
changing
No,
my
this is why I
PP
bring
to
up
a
the fact.
coochie.
This is why
I
I bring
know,
up the
guys.
fact
He's frustrated.
those courses of treatment, lifestyle changes, antidepressants, talk therapy, those things are already on the course of treatment
Yeah.
prior to gender affirming care and surgery, right?
Uh-huh.
In gender dysphoria. And only when those things do not show effective results do we go to gender affirming care for gender dysphoria. This is why I say you don't know what you're doing. Because by and large, they attempt these. That is the current AMA suggestions, to attempt most other cares
It's not,
before
I
we
don't know
attempt
what
the
I'm doing. It's
extreme
not,
care of gender affirming care.
It's
gender
not that
for
I don't know
research.
what I'm doing. It's that I don't study everything about the transgender. That's why we're having this discussion in the
Exactly. So
first
you
place.
don't
They come
know
with
the
respect.
relevant
Say it
information. So I'm telling,
respectfully,
one
buddy.
second, you shouldn't
I
be
could be
offended when I
sassy
tell
just
you you
like
don't
you,
know the relevant
sis.
information. Let me tell
I
you
could be
the relevant
sassy just like
information.
you, sis. If we want to be sassy, my dog too. All right, go ahead.
Well,
Finish.
no, I just said you shouldn't be offended when I say you don't know the relevant
I'm
information. I
not
tell
being
you the relevant
offended. I'm
information,
just
you say you
saying
don't
we
know
could.
it.
I could be
Like, hello,
sassy. I'm gonna say you don't know. Like you
what do I not
honestly
know?
don't know how to actually work out and fix your mental health. Study David Goggins. Don't study how to
Talk
change
to me.
your pee-pee to a
I'm
coochie.
a I'm a college athlete that competes on like a national level for my team. Talk to me about working out.
What sport? Yeah, I'm a
What?
wrestler. What
Yeah, I'm a
sport?
competitive gymnast for Oxford University. Talk to me about mental health and working out.
You got a scholarship?
What? Yeah, I actually do.
Athletic? Cap, you can't for Oxford. Athletic?
You don't know. You don't get it from the university. I have it from my college.
Yeah. We don't want to. We could compare full rides, buddy.
I don't have
But
a full ride.
anyways,
I just
we're
get a
going
small
off
scholarship. I
topic.
get a small stipend.
We're going off topic. You can't get a full ride for Oxford.
I
Anyways,
didn't claim that I got a full ride. I said I got a scholarship, which I do.
you get athletic though. You can't. It's Oxford. They don't give athletic scholarships. Thank
So
you.
once
Next.
once again, colleges
But
do
I
give
respect you.
funding
You're
for.
smart, bro. You're smart, bro.
Wait, so colleges do give funding for athletics. They just don't give like the amount
Yes,
or
there's
extreme
multiple
insane.
colleges that do, but not Oxford.
You realize Oxford is a collegiate university, right, Brenda?
No shit. It's a
So what?
university. You don't get your athletic scholarship, I'm saying, my boy. You get it through Everett Hines.
Yeah, so I have an athletics
Exactly.
scholarship.
So you can join the fucking team if you have good grades.
So no. But what I'm saying is my college, right? My college in Oxford, University College Oxford, which is confusingly named, which is a constituent college of Oxford, gives me money because of my performance in my school.
Tell me more.
Once again, there's not much more to say.
All right. Anyways, yeah.
It's a private
Still with the
fund for the scholarship.
transgenders.
I don't know where you got your
Bro,
information.
did I hurt your feelings or something? You're still yapping about it. Like, let me hear more.
Wait, Brando, you're just like confidently wrong. It's hilarious.
I'm talking about the athletic scholarships. You already proved my point, bro, and you're still yapping.
You
about
said
it.
Oxford didn't give athletic scholarships, which is
don't.
wrong.
You can get it in different ways, but
So
actual
it's an athletic scholarship.
Huh?
So yeah,
You can
then
get a scholarship.
athletic
I'm talking
scholarship.
athletic
I didn't say
scholarships
they
you're
were the
not
same
allowed
as
to
y'all's. I said that I got
You're not allowed
one,
to give.
and you called me a liar
roll
for
your
it.
eyes. My point is proven, bro. Like,
And your
this
point
little
is wrong.
athletic. I know the dog. My dog's tripping because I'm in a debate. She needs love, man. She just wants to be pet. All right, we want to get back to the transgender talk, or you want to fucking yamble about?
Sure. I mean, I don't think there's any point in beating a dead horse with your point, because we've already shown that it's wrong. What else do you have to say about transgender people? Because you did the classic straight male thing of I just work out, who needs therapy, which is total BS because lifestyle changes are the first move.
Bro, you're literally just twisting my words. You are twisting my words. No cap. You are literally twisting my words.
Correct me then.
I literally said there's, bro, there's reports.
He got reported. That ain't no good. Anyway. Keep on sending likes, everyone. We got 4 people in guest requests. Let's keep on sharing with people that disagree, and we can live on. I don't remove him. So I did remove him, but that's because he got reports against him. So
Hi, Will. How you doing?
doing well, Nick. How about you?
Yeah, mate. That was I'm quite in awe of you for keeping your temper there. To be quite honest with you, because I would have been gone ages ago.
Yeah, he's a bit infuriating.
Just one on the anti-death penalty. So, why? I just want to see what your reasons are for having an anti-death penalty.
Yeah, because I don't believe in needless, unproductive unaliving of people, and
Okay.
that's all death penalty is.
So I'm gonna pull on a situation we had in the UK. I'm not sure. You said Oxford. Are you in Oxford University in the UK or in the
Yeah.
States? You are.
Also,
So you'll
just in
be
in discussing this, remember to use TikTok friendly language, just in protection of you and Mai's account.
yeah, no problem. Sorry
Yeah.
about that.
All good.
You'll obviously be aware of Lucy Letby, the nurse
Not by name.
who was she unalived 7 babies. Um,
Oh, the nurse. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, just check. Yeah. Okay,
She's
I have
just
heard
been
of this case
sentenced.
before. Yeah.
So in that sort of case, I mean, that's I'm I'm for and I'm against the death penalty. Obviously, it's very case by case, but in that scenario, would you be swayed?
So this isn't like a feelings-based argument. I think our justice system needs to serve society. And
Yeah.
fundamentally, it doesn't matter. Like, it's not like, wow, I think when I say I'm anti-death penalty, it's not because I think these criminals are just good people and they need to be saved, right? It's not
Yeah.
because I have compassion or such necessarily for them. I do in some cases, but it's not because I think they're not horrendous. It's because I don't see the purpose in unaliving them. It doesn't do
Okay.
anything, and it puts innocent people at risk. So it's more of a systemic issue than an individual case. Like, fundamentally, when we engage in the death penalty, we risk innocent lives, and fundamentally, it costs the taxpayer more money. Um, so I just don't believe in that. If we could show that it reduced people from doing things like Lucy Letby did, right? Then I would love to see that, but it doesn't. So it just serves no real purpose. And I don't think that we should have, right, a fundamentally vengeance based or a feelings based, an outrage based justice system.
I agree with you. I don't get the US system where one state can have the death penalty, another state can't. I don't understand why there's so many. Well, it's all right for one, but it's not all right for the other, and there's a hell of a lot of money that goes. I think it's millions into unaliving one person, from what I've read anyway. On another point, so the whole trans community. And again, I've grown up with people that are in the forces that at one point it was illegal to be homosexual, and
Mm-hmm.
then we sort of steadily saw the whole trans community slowly take off. Within that, we've got quite a lot of a community within the armed forces now. But what I'm seeing on TikTok lately is a massive toxic environment of if you don't agree with the trans community in certain things, like for example, cisgender, calling yourself cisgender. If you don't use the term cis, you're automatically, in some people's views, a transphobe. Do you agree with that, or do you see the point that it doesn't make you a transphobe? It just some people just don't want to use the term cis. We don't understand it.
Wait, so you don't understand it? What's confusing about it?
So there's a lot of people that you'll see on debates
Do
across the
you
whole of
not
TikTok.
understand the term cis?
No, I do understand the term cis. What I'm saying to you is, if you don't want to use so for me, I was born as a male. Yeah, I was born male.
Yeah.
So if I don't use the term cis in front of my male label, then I'm automatically a transphobe in some people's
I don't
eyes.
think in what context are you
Okay,
talking?
so do you look at a lot of debates on TikTok?
Yeah, look,
Right.
yeah,
There's a lot of
good friends
debates
with
on
most of the trans
most of
debaters
the
on
debate
here.
calls. Most of the debate topics are if you don't identify as cis gender, you are automatically transphobic. That's my point. Why is the
That's
trans
fascinating. I don't know
community?
what context this would be. If so, here, I don't know a sane trans person that would state that sentence in a general context. I'm trying to think of what maybe caused this outrage.
There were two debates
I
earlier
think
on
that's delusional.
that's
I've never
that
heard a
were
trans person say that. And I watch hours and hours of this shit. Right? Like I've seen lots and lots of trans people debate. I know this rhetoric. Um, if you are annoying and actively ignorant for no reason regarding the term, right? Then yeah, we think you're, being transphobic probably because you don't because typically what will come out of their mouth is they'll say, "I'm not cis, I'm normal."
Yeah.
Right? Something along those lines. And there we have something that is really quite offensive,
Derogatory.
right? Because it suggests that trans people aren't normal.
Yeah.
Right. So there's typically more context to it that's extraordinarily necessary. But also like they are cis people. Like they are cis. Like it isn't, it's not really an identity, right? It's just you are cis and it is accurate. And when people debating the transgender issue lose their minds over the usage of cis, which I have seen consistently, is there cis is a slur, cis is horrendous, cis is nasty, it's made up, right? Those type of things, right? Well, we're just going to see it as unjustified bias against the trans community and the trans movement, which then you could be classed properly either as that or as transphobia.
I just think there's a divide on TikTok at the moment. I think it's getting more and more toxic that if you don't have or share the opinion of the trans community, not all, I'd say it's the minority, to be quite honest with you. There's some people out there that will actually accept both sides of the coin. They just accept your opinions and accept your views, which is what we should all do.
Oh, no, I don't. I don't accept. Sorry, let me just make very clear. I'm not on that side. I don't accept everyone's views. Like people are wrong and disgusting for certain views, and I think we should all have the balls to admit that.
But your opinion, if your opinion's not wrong and if your opinion's not a disgusting view, like an out and out being derogatory to someone, and you've got your own opinion, then why is that wrong when you've got to share the opinion of?
Well, if it's an opinion that will consistently motivate harm and hurt, right? We need to just talk about it in the terms that are accurate. I don't think we can talk in these amorphous freedom of speech terms, right? We need to talk specifically about their specific complaints, about their specific opinions, right? And I would love to see where they're being irrational. Because quite honestly, right, the people I see being irrational are the people that lose their minds over the term cis, right, which is a scientific term, quite honestly. The cisgendered has been created by social scientists well before.
Me talking about Mel, and it is exactly that. It's Mel and the sort of crew that are with her. They're very, very quite aggressive, to be quite honest, if you don't share any of their opinions, because they will come on and be asking questions of they want you to go against their view, and people go against their view and then get completely and utterly either shot down or verbally abused in some cases, because I've seen them do that. So
I mean, I know Mel. I've seen Mel speak. This is not what I see. What I think has happened is people came up there and said things that are despicably transphobic, and they fell under your they're not quite, what you imagine a transphobe to look like. So they don't fall under your view of it. But I don't think this is us being overly reactionary, overly violent, overly vitriolic. We don't owe people that are attacking our existence like civility is where I'd go. I don't think you can bitch and moan about when we speak to people that are like, trans people just shouldn't have rights. I don't owe you civility at all. And I don't think I think people get confused there.
I don't agree with that viewpoint at all, that trans people don't have rights. Everybody has rights. Everybody should have rights.
No, I know. I'm not saying you do, but I'm saying you're confused as to what's happening here. It's not that we are being vitriolic, angry, vile against these people. It's that you are underestimating the harm and damage that the quote unquote, opinions that you're suggesting do. And the next time this happens, what I'd urge you to do is really consider what the other side said and see how that would actually affect a trans person and a trans person's thoughts. Because by and large, right, the trans people, it's extraordinarily normalized in our society to say quite despicable things to trans people and it still be counted as civil because you didn't say it in an angry tone. It doesn't really matter the tone you come up on. I don't think we should be tone policing trans advocates.
Do you think that's more in the US? Because I think here in the UK, we accept it.
No, absolutely not. You see the actions of the Sunak government? Are you shitting me right now?
Yeah, no, with that, yes. But I mean, as people, not the government, not Rishi Sunak. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the UK people, Scottish people, Irish people, Welsh people, the lot. I think it's more accepted here because all you see on any debate is it's the US side of it. And I think the US has got a big issue with it. I think the US are having a big problem with it at the moment about acceptance. I think it
Total
is already
disagreement.
accepted in society in the UK. I don't share the view of Rishi Sunak whatsoever. I think he's absolutely fucking disgusting, pardon me. I do. And for the stuff that he's come out and said, especially
No,
the
I
stuff
know
that
that's
he put
your
out
view,
this
Nick,
week about,
but I think
say
that's
again?
not representative of the whole entire UK. I don't think UK is as bad as the US. That's true. But the UK is notably worse than most of Western Europe, except for perhaps France, right?
Agree. I was saying it between the US and the UK.
Yeah, but it's
That
a
was my
nominal difference when you're talking about the lives and safety of trans people and trans citizens in the country, right?
agree.
Fundamentally, the normalization of transphobia in these debates still exists. And what I think gets confused is trans people have to tolerate it a lot in debates, but their tolerance of despicable views that are normalized does not, somehow cause a problem when they stop being tolerant of those ridiculous views. Their tolerance doesn't make it more good to have those views, right? It's just that that's the only way they're allowed to debate and be heard. Um, but I think people get used to that and then feel entitled to civility, and they aren't.
I don't think anybody, especially trans, should have to justify their existence. I'm completely against that. That's not the case at all. I don't think anybody should have to justify their existence. As long as you're happy, you're free, and you do what you do, then that's all that matters. At the moment, we live in a generation, and the point is that we are having to accept people for what they are. I do think that there's a tendency of violence to be at an all-time high at some point towards the trans community. I don't know. I just get this feeling that something's being pushed, and again by the rhetoric that the UK government are using.
Crazy.
It is, yeah, and I don't understand how he can get away with that, because that's got to violate something. Especially the fact that did you see the point he put out about doctors, and you should have the right to question if your doctors had surgery or what they class themselves as, or did you see that?
No, but anyway, I think we're done disagreeing, and we have people in the queue, so I
Yeah,
appreciate you coming up.
nice talking to you.
Um,
Appreciate it.
yeah, wonderful. Thank you so
Take it
much.
easy, mate.
Take it easy. This is my main, everyone. My main for my old one. But also, y'all, while we do have 300 people in here, I'm trying to move over to YouTube more. So if you can click on the link in my bio or follow my YouTube, that would be absolutely fantastic. Just because, TikTok is not a huge fan of me. And if I could get like 1,000 followers on YouTube, that'd be great. And maybe we'll go live there as well. Anyway, hello, Mariah.
Oh my God. Sorry,
How
I'm
old are you?
sick. I'm turning 19 in December 23rd.
Okay, wonderful. What would you send a guest request to disagree on?
I don't think, for example, like trans women are not real women.
Why?
Because, first of all, I know a lot of people say like sex and gender are like two different things, but personally, doesn't really make that much sense to me. Like, a woman is a woman and a man is a man, and they have two different like jobs in the society, and I feel like people just like forget about that, like a woman is here to carry a baby, create life, and the man is supposed to be protective. I mean, not every man needs to be like masculine in that sense, but I mean, like, a woman is someone who's like carries, life. And when you say
So,
like
Mariah,
trans
do you
women
believe?
are
Sorry,
like,
can I just hit you there? Does an infertile woman have no purpose in life?
what?
Does an infertile woman have no purpose in life?
What's an infertile woman? Sorry, I'm
A
Norwegian.
person who is not fertile, so a person who cannot become pregnant.
No, they do have a purpose in life then too.
But your view takes
Mm-hmm.
away, right, from their ability to have a purpose. Your view
No, they
conflates their
don't.
purpose, their goals, their intentions, right,
No.
with their fertility and ability to have a child.
Just because they have a
Oh,
fertility
so
to
what
be
year were
able
you
to
born,
carry a
Mariah?
child. What?
What year were you born? What year were you born?
2004.
Okay.
Okay, anyways, just because they
I do
don't,
have
they
other
can't.
weird. Hello. Can't hear you. You're muted. We're gonna move to the next guest in 3, 2, 1. I can send you an invite. Nope. Okie dokie. Oh, there we go. Sorry, Aldi Love.
Ô, mano,
Hello?
provavelmente tu não tá me entendendo, mas é que eu sou brasileiro. Tem que descer. Acho que não vi o idioma da live.
Okie dokie. Aldi Lover, what's up?
So I agree with you on everything, but the death penalty, I just feel like that I see the point where I feel like on most cases, or in some cases, that it is unjustified and there would be more good and like staying alive and getting like the help that they need. But I also feel like there are permissible times where, like that example of the nurse, I feel like that's more than justifiable. Like, I'm not like an expert on morality, but you know, that lady.
Well, I think the difficulty here is that it's systemic. So we need to make a systemic choice on how we do that. And regardless on how we do that, we risk innocent lives and we cost taxpayer more money. And I find it difficult to justify risking innocent lives and paying more money, right, for basically no change in outcome other than vengeance.
Right.
That's where I'm at.
I don't think it's necessarily vengeance. It's more so justice. But when you start to like think about those two ideas, I don't know. There might be overlap, but at the same time, I feel like a person would get more closure from somebody paying the price for like a heinous crime that they've committed. Like, let's say hypothetically, like a person, like, I don't know, like killed 10 people.
Let's use unalived. Let's use TikTok friendly language just for the safety of my account. No, it's all good.
Unalived. Forget how TikTok can be. Yeah, so like let's just say like this person killed. Oh, okay. You know what? Hold on.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, did bad thing. Cool. Victim wants to feel better, so they unalive the criminal. Counterpoint: the criminal has family. The criminal has people that they care about, or that cares about them. Right? Why would we harm those people? They're also innocent.
That's true, but also like, I don't know, cause I don't know why you would. I guess that would make sense, but I feel like that person should not like. I don't know. Maybe you're right. Initially, I was just gonna come
on
on
the
here.
emotional stance. That's kind of the point. Yeah, but yeah, okay. Do you have any other disagreements?
No.
Slay. Well, I appreciate coming up.
Someone said boring guest. You're boring. Shut up.
This guest actually has a really funny name. It's actually kind of nice.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm 18. 2000.
What year are you born?
24th.
Nice. We're just gonna guess
Christmas. December 24th. Trans men are not men because they're not males.
And how do you know that that male is the only valid definition of a man?
I mean, I didn't really say that, did I? Okay.
Well, you said that okay, why do you believe that male is a necessary qualification to be a man? In what, why?
I mean, but by the definition, it's an adult male, correct?
Which definition?
What do you mean? It's in the Oxford Dictionary, I think.
Let's talk about the Oxford Languages Dictionary definition of man. Have you read the full Oxford Languages Dictionary entry for man?
A man?
Yeah, have you read the full entry?
What do you mean by full?
So they provide
What do
a
you mean
full
by that?
entry, so all of the definitions of man. Have you actually done your research and read the thing that you're citing?
Oh, not really.
Right.
Not really.
I think that's a first step. Okay, great. So
Well,
the
I
Oxford
mean,
Languages Dictionary is immediately available. It's really easy to find. The first definition, you're right. If you do like the lowest level effort search in the world, you get an adult male human being. And if that's your argument, good work, right? But then you literally read just like a few
yeah.
lines down, right? They also provide the definition: a person with qualities traditionally associated with males, such as bravery, spirit, or toughness. So they also have a sociological definition
Wait.
of. They also have a sociological definition that is clearly a sociological definition of a man, right? So this doesn't even agree with your point that they have to be males in order to be a man.
Isn't that like a different definition of a man? Like, when you say mankind, that doesn't actually entail an adult human male, correct? Like, it actually means like
Yeah, there are different
it's like when you
senses of the
say
term.
a
That's
man.
correct. There are different senses of the term. What I'm suggesting is that there is a sexual sense, an adult male human being, and there is a gendered sense, which is the sociological sense, right? And this is why it's really important. Typically,
Yeah, so
pronouns,
that's what I mean.
pronouns and labels would refer to the gendered sense, right? We would gender our pronouns on the basis of the gender, not the sex. So we would use the gendered sense of the term, which would be a sociological label, which isn't dependent on the sex, which is what Oxford Languages agrees with.
Okay,
And
so
also
when you
Oxford
say
as an institution affirms trans people, as I would know because it's my alma mater. But yeah, no, like Slay Oxford, like yeah,
Okay,
they
so
affirm trans people both in their dictionary definition and as an institution.
okay, so when you say trans men are men, like when you say man, do you mean like I honestly don't know what you mean. Can you explain that, please?
Well, you cited the institution that agrees with me. So I think you do know what I mean.
So, but they're not an adult human male, right? So you're using the different definitions, I guess. But
one of them that is provided by the source that you gave me. Yes, I'm using your source. Yes, correct. Because I actually know it and I've read it.
Okay.
So do you not now think that we should trust the Oxford Languages Dictionary, or do you agree with me?
Honestly, I think it's subjective. Like, I think in some definitions, I think you can agree with Oxford, but in some, maybe not.
So you're going to cherry pick the institution that you...
Because I don't think... No, that's not what I mean. I mean, like,
I don't think these are subjective.
Because when you say
I don't think definitions in this sense are subjective. I think they're observational.
But it's still subjective, though. When I say subjective, I don't mean by like opinionated or anything like that. I'm saying like mind dependent, or like in different connotations, like
They're not dependent on my
stop
mind,
giving me
though.
that face.
Wait, no. So there's a difference between subjective in terms of mind dependent, a very strict philosophic understanding, right? And then it different in different contexts. I agree with this. They are different in different contexts. That's what senses mean. It's not dependent upon my mind, so it's not subjective to me, and therefore it's not subjective relevant to this conversation. It's subjective. Yeah.
Okay, so. Okay, I guess you win. You can kick me.
You're happy to exit yourself, Eugene, but appreciate coming up.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me. I think that was anti Phil Bro, everyone. What did that converge on? Phil Bros. Thank you. Everyone keep sending likes, and do go follow my YouTube. I really appreciate the support on YouTube. It's directly linked in my bio. If you can take 2 seconds and go follow my YouTube, that would be great. Okay, Ree's been waiting a while. Hello.
Hello.
What'd you send a guest request to disagree on?
So you think that man can be a woman and woman can identify as man?
Well, I believe that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. I just think that a trans man is a man, yeah. I don't really believe that a man can be a woman. That would be like black being white.
Do you believe a woman can identify as a man?
No, because then they would be a man.
All right. So,
You're muted. I can't hear you if you didn't know.
say I identify as a cow, and all my cow friends are getting killed. Like, everyone is getting killed.
I think I'll call it there, Ray. Keep on sending my
Hey,
hero. Hello, how old are you?
I'm 18.
What year were you born?
2005.
Not Queen. I know the math lines up, but like she doesn't. Hello.
Hello.
What are you saying? Guest request to disagree on?
Trans man is man. What do makes
sure.
you say that?
What makes me think it?
Yeah. If you're born as a female and then you transition into male.
Yeah.
You still have the inner workings of female.
Wild. That's why I don't say that females are males. I say that trans men are men, right? Because I believe that man, right, at least in one valid understanding of the term, is a social label, right? And we give that social label, at least in part, by self-identification and performance. So if a trans man identifies as a man, right, they can validly be understood to be one.
What about the society?
Well, I believe it is society granting it, and I think the optimal way and the accurate way to understand gender as a concept is in reference to self-identification and social labeling. It's not necessarily to do with sexual characteristics.
Okay. But don't you think it would complicate the life of a person?
Absolutely. I don't advocate for people to be trans, right? No one does. Being trans is difficult and complicated. What makes being trans, if you already are, though, more complicated is people actively pushing you away from what you truly are.
Don't you think trans people have a problem, like mental problem?
Some do, right? And some do, and that would be gender dysphoria by and large. And the way that we treat and reduce the symptoms of gender dysphoria is by affirming their gender. If you actually cared about what that mental problem was, you would be affirming trans people because that is what has been shown consistently to work.
Okay. All right. It's still not very clear to me. Why would you like it? Maybe like trans men will be trans men, but not men. Why don't we create like a category specialized for people who change their gender?
We do, it's transgender, but it's just not a gender itself. That would be misrepresenting the whole entire concept of gender to suggest that transgender is a gender. Transgender is a commentary and an adjective to gender. It's not itself a gender.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, thank you. Thanks, man.
No problem. Appreciate you coming up. Hello.
Hi.
What did you send a guest request to disagree on?
I disagree with the anti-yes penalty.
Great. Why?
And I'm not speaking for like circumstantial cases, like they used to kind of just throw it at anyone back in the day when they, thought that they knew who killed this person. But I feel like for the cases where like people go in and commit mass murder,
Also,
like
let's
we
just use
see
like
them.
TikTok friendly. One second, sorry. Let's
Oh,
use
sorry,
TikTok
sorry.
friendly language just for the corrective. All right, no
You
problem.
know, mass.
Yeah, I hear you.
I feel like that they should be put to death. Is that a okay word for TikTok?
Let's be. We understand what we're saying. We can talk around it. I think everyone understands what
Okay.
we're saying, but hopefully the TikTok AI won't. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. So we should use the death penalty in cases of mass unaliving.
Yes,
Um,
yeah, and not
absolutely.
even just like even cases where we have like proof. Like I mean, I watch a lot of like investigation, discovery, and stuff like that. And there's cases where those unalivings happen on camera. Like it's very clear. We know exactly who did
Yeah,
it.
well,
Those
but
people, I believe, should
the thing
should
is,
suffer the same
right?
fate.
First of all, here's the difficulty with this argument. There is no legal system in which an innocent person will not get through at a certain mass. Not a single one. We already have the most stringent bar of evidence we conceivably can, beyond a reasonable doubt, right? There's no higher bar of evidence, right? What are we going to do? Beyond an unreasonable doubt? Like, what are we going to do? So it's not about the evidence, right? We can't have this higher evidentiary bar from beyond a reasonable doubt. So the things that you described, those cases where it's really obvious, those are the only cases that get convicted, hypothetically, right? If our jury system worked properly, if we took beyond a reasonable doubt at face value, right? But we just need to reckon, if you're going to advocate the unaliving of people by the state, you need to reckon with the truth, right? Which is that inevitably some innocent people will be unalived, and that by and large those innocent people will be from minority communities, because that's what the history has shown, and the American justice system with impunity has consistently done that.
Wait, so in what instance do you think that innocent people would slip through the cracks?
In that it always has. There's never been a system of the death penalty where it
No,
hasn't.
no, no, because I don't think that the system has always been in place for like undeniable. We have
There's no
complete
such thing as an
physical
undeniable
and
case.
visible proof.
There's
How?
0% of cases. Zero are undeniable. None.
How?
None of them are undeniable. Video
There's
evidence can be tampered with. Eyewitness evidence is unreliable and can be bought out.
you can you you
Fingerprint
can you
and
can
DNA
put you
evidence
can
has
put
been
a
tampered
gun
with,
in.
has been mistaken, has been incorrect. Right? There's procedural issues with the court cases. There's hundreds of statutory limitations or common law limitations that could be brought up for literally any given action within court. Right? No such thing as a perfect court case, no such thing as a perfect judicial proceeding, right? Mass unaliving cases have been thrown out due to small procedural errors, right? It's not true that any given case, any given procedure could ever, right, be undeniably, unequivocally, irrevocably perfect. That's why it's not the evidentiary bar.
Wait, how not? You've never how so you mean to tell me that they can tamper with video evidence as far as
Yeah.
putting a gun in someone's hand and you can
Yes, they
like
can.
Photoshop a gun in someone's hand and like have them walk around Walmart shooting people?
They can misrepresent photo evidence. They can tamper it 200%. I'm just saying, right? Breakages of every single form of evidence have happened and will happen.
I do think that Casey Anthony got away with unaliving her daughter, but that's not a case that I see as complete evidence. I mean, like full video proof. This person, the
But
cops were
videos also,
outside,
like
and
videos getting better at being able to be faked,
but
right?
like, but
AI
like
can make
the
can
cops,
edit a video to make you look like you're doing anything. Let's
cops
not. But
have
videos
like
also have been
cops
tampered with
have
before in
cops
court.
have body cam, and when they stand outside waiting for the perpetrator, whether it's at a Walmart or a school or a bank, when that person comes out because they decided that they after they heard everyone else that they don't want to take themselves out, I believe that they should be like there's no getting around that. We know exactly who did it.
But you don't know. But you don't, though. You don't know exactly in what response, exactly what they were thinking, exactly if they were mentally sane at the time, exactly, right, if they had any form of justification, exactly if all the procedures were followed in court. You don't know exactly if the body cam was put on right. You don't know exactly if the body cam was used legally or illegally, if the police officer was properly on duty or anything. There could have been a contractual issue with the police officer that stopped him from being able to be a police officer that day, and therefore it's inadmissible in court, the evidence, right? Like, the difficulty here is, okay, this is what I ask every time to people that bring up this point. Have you ever read a single, in full, criminal court case?
I read books.
Have you read a full court briefing?
No, I don't. No.
Please do, and get back to me and tell me if there is any case where no legal issue could conceivably come up.
But I mean, a legal. I'm talking about right in front of our eyes here. Like I mean, we're just gonna have to agree to disagree. I'm sorry. We're gonna have to agree to
The thing
disagree. But
this is difficult. So I study law. This is what I do, and I read court cases every day. And y'all come up here and tell me, right? Oh, there are court cases that are, undeniable. There are court cases that are clear. That is just not true. Read a single one and come back to me, because this is totally untrue. There are always going to be issues with any criminal case, undeniably. Right? There will be an issue that someone, a smart enough, well-paid lawyer.
I'm not talking about, and they need to fix it. I'm not talking about what's written all in the court cases and where they mess up at by not doing this or that right. I'm talking about cases that are just, I mean, cases that are completely obvious. Like, I don't care about the court. I don't care about the court madness and all of that. There's cases that we know undoubtedly.
But we have to go through the court madness to convict.
And we have to
suggest we do.
No.
Imperfection in the court, any imperfection in the court madness, right, throws out your whole argument. You realize that, right?
No, we have to fix that. We have to fix that as well. But
how do you fix the complexity of the law?
Public execution is crazy. Well, no, matter of fact, I do think that people that unalive people at mass ratings deserve public execution. Yes, I do. You're right. I do believe that. They need it. I don't care where you're...
Right, but one second. Here's the thing. Once again, you say, I don't care about the court madness. We have to go through the court madness. And what you're saying is it's entirely deluded to ever believe, right, that the United States justice system could have a single case where we know there was no mistake throughout the court. We know there was no mistake by the ops. We know there was no mistake by the prosecutor, right? It's just wrong. It's too complicated to say there is not a single chance in the world ever possibly that there wasn't a mistake made here. And we know that that's not what happens. We know it's not. Even incredibly limited capacities of death penalty that we've seen in certain states throughout the U.S., right? We still see innocent people get convicted, innocent families be robbed of their children, right, through the death penalty. And I think when you're advocating this, right, you really need to sit down and either provide me a systemic response. You need to own the systemic response and fix the system first before you start unaliving people, right? Or own the human cost and justify it. But you're not doing either of those. You're just living in like illusion.
If someone walks up to you and your friend and shoots your friend point blank in the head, is there still some reasonable doubt in your mind? That did
it's
not
my
happen?
mind that I have to. It's not my mind. It's the jury's mind.
Okay,
it's the judge's mind.
I'm talking about.
But you're advocating that the jury and judge sentence them to death. So I'm asking you, on what basis are you going to guarantee that these two parties never make a mistake?
I'm not talking about them and what they're going to think.
You're talking about the death penalty.
Yes, I am.
The death penalty is by the Justice Department.
And which is why did I not say that it is?
So you need to tell me how the Justice Department is going to be perfect.
I mean, I can't just walk in there and make it perfect myself.
Then don't tell me that they should unalive people when you know some of those people are going to be innocent. Until you can tell me that there are any cases where we can guarantee that the Justice Department will make the correct choice, right?
No. See, we're talking about two different things, though. We're talking about two different things.
If you're not talking about the actions of the Justice Department, you're not talking about the topic at hand.
I am.
Then talk about the actions of the Justice Department. How are you going to guarantee that this action of the Justice Department is without flaw?
Well, we're not on the same page here. We're gonna have to agree to disagree. We're not on the same page. We're talking about two different things.
Then clarify the page. Tell me how you don't take ownership somehow for the flaws of the Justice Department while advocating the brutalistic policy of the Justice Department of death penalty.
Nope, nope, nope.
Okay, you're not going to
Agree
clarify
to
your point? Slay.
no, no, no. Because I
It's
mean,
not agree to disagree. I don't agree.
let's
I
not,
think you're not
and
taking
then
ownership
and
for
then
the pain and
and I
suffering that you're
said that we
advocating.
have to. I
I
said
think it's
that.
incredibly irresponsible to come on here, right, and pretend like this is an issue we can agree to disagree on, right? You can admit that you don't really know what you're talking about if you want, right? Or you can exit. That's fine, right? But we won't agree to disagree when innocent people's lives are on the line. And America has
No,
had one of the most brutalistic justice systems throughout history, and you're
no, we
advocating we make
can,
it more brutal.
we can,
But
we
we
can
won't.
agree to disagree.
Anyway, if you don't have any disagreements beyond that,
That's
I'm happy to move on.
yeah, that is a disagreement. No, I am not Christian. Why are y'all so mad at me? What did I do? I did nothing. Why are y'all so
You didn't. You
mad?
came up here and advocated a brutal policy of the justice system, right? You don't take ownership for the consequences of it. Like, and it's the reason I get annoyed. The reason I'm annoyed is because if you had a reason to believe that it was okay, if you had a
Ash, sir,
reason,
go
if
take
you
care
had
of
a
your children, please.
justification, if you had a
Talking too much.
justification for this policy, right, we could talk. And maybe you just don't know. Maybe you just have ideological differences. But you are showing that you are unwilling, right? Unwilling or unable, but it's very clear that it's unwilling, right, to engage in a discussion that might actually elucidate the problems with your barbaric view.
Where am? Hold on. First of all, how am I yelling? Am I yelling at you? Well, tell me. Am I
Doesn't
yelling
matter.
at
I
you?
don't care.
So why are you stuck being disrespectful now for no reason? I did nothing to you.
I'm not being disrespectful.
Yeah, you are.
You can feel that way, but this is a facts over
Yeah,
feelings case. I'm not being disrespectful. I said that you didn't know what you're talking about, and you don't.
that is.
I said that you're unwilling to engage in the debate,
That
and
is.
you're not.
That's exactly what
I
you're
said that
doing.
you're supporting a barbaristic view, which you are.
No, I'm supporting a very good view, honestly, if you ask me.
I know you feel that way, but once
Why
again,
are
you brought no argument for it.
your little minions in the comments are so mad at me for no
Continue to be
reason.
triggered by the minions in the comments. Don't It doesn't actually provide any value to this topic.
I'm not triggered by
So
them. They're
if you want to
annoying.
move beyond your feelings and engage in the discussion, that would be great.
I'm not.
Otherwise, I invite you to leave.
How am I in my feelings? I'm like,
Because you're
I'll
unwilling
leave.
to engage in the one-on-one debate that's happening and you're getting triggered by the comments.
So, okay. I mean, if you say so. But bye, guys.
Bye. Let's keep on going, Queens. I'm going to leave just in a second.
Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Hello? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You can hear me, right? So I joined because I disagree with two things, actually. I want to start with trans men are men and feminism.
Okay, great. So let's start with feminism, because I've talked about trans men are men for a while here. What's your qualms with feminism?
I don't believe that men and women should be able to get equal rights. I think it should be equity. Equity. Equity.
Equity in rights? What do you mean equity in rights?
Because there is certain things that women have what's it called, upper hand, and men have an upper hand, and giving that same exact right to each of them is, I don't know if you've seen this example of it where it's given like boxes
I understand.
and
I
it's like a
understand what
fence.
equity in this sense is. I understand this.
Yeah.
This isn't how rights work, though.
So what is your hello? What is your view on it?
What is my what?
view.
That women and men deserve equal rights.
Yeah, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? Like,
What's your view on feminism?
What?
what's your view on feminism?
I'm an intersectionalist Marxist feminist. So I support intersectional Marxist feminism.
And what's that?
So it's feminism from a materialistic view and that observes the ubiquity of oppression.
And what is your view on? And what is your definition of oppression in your personal opinion?
Unjustified disrespect for one's material needs or liberal or negative rights.
Okay. So, what I want to say is, for example, let me find an example. Let's think. I can't think of an example on. Okay, wage gaps. Okay.
Great.
With that, yes, it's unfair with the whole they're paying females less than males.
Yes, they are.
But in certain instances, I would say it just really varies and depends. I feel like they should be monitoring each of their colleagues, monitoring all of the workers, instead of just assuming, oh, they're going to the toilet because they need it more, and obviously we're going to dock pay them, whatever. That's one thing I disagree with because, you know, humans all
I'm
go
just
to the toilet.
confused what your point is.
Males.
This is nonsense. What are you saying?
My point is coming. My point is coming. Okay.
Okay, let's hurry
However,
that up.
however, what I'm trying to say is there is certain instances where they should be analyzing what their workers are be doing. For example, I feel like they should. I feel like they should, if they see.
Yellow.
Hi, how you doing?
Doing real well.
That's good. So the only one here that I guess disagree with, I'm more curious, is how somebody could disagree with your stance as an agnostic atheist. Would
How
that be
someone
like
could disagree with me?
Yeah, like I would assume that it's they are a Gnostic theist or so.
Yeah, Gnostic theist. Well, anyone on the spectrum there could disagree with me. Someone could have a critique of my relationship between Gnosticism and what fucking epistemology, right? And be a Gnostic atheist. Gnostic atheists would disagree with me. Agnostic theists would disagree with me by saying, well, I don't know, but you should believe for blank, blank, and blank reason other than
Yeah.
knowledge. And then a Gnostic theist would obviously disagree with me by providing me evidence.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, what are since it is agnostic atheism, would that be that you are open to evidence being provided for any given deity? Or is it
Well, everyone's
primarily
open.
from an Abrahamic opposition?
So even Gnostic atheists would be open to evidence proving a deity. They just, unlike me, believe they have sufficient evidence disproving deities. But it's not about openness or closeness. Everyone should be open to evidence. It's about my current belief as to what amount of evidence I have and my conclusions on the basis of that. So yeah, it's not like specific to Abrahamic faiths. It's just a general God concept.
Yeah, makes sense. This is probably going to be a short one. I'm pagan myself, North pagan, and we're
I saw
not really
I saw
too
your
keen on proselytizing. Don't need to really prove to others, mostly just conversations.
Slay. And I appreciate that.
Yeah, I was mostly just curious how somebody could, disagree with that. So I'm going to pop off. Have a good one.
Hey, well, I appreciate you coming up. Yeah,
If
thank
I
you.
can figure out how to here.
I got you.
Hello.
Hello, what did you send a guest request to disagree on?
I have a couple of things. Sorry.
Yeah, first, what year were
um,
you born?
I'm 19. I was born 2004.
2000 what?
4.
Delightful. Okay, when did you send a guest request to disagree on? Yeah.
So I can't speak. The feminists. Are you saying like we should have equal rights? Like men and women should
I
have equal
believe that
rights?
gender should not consider legal or gender should not be considered in legal or social conceptions.
Okay. Then never mind on that. Pro-choice. That's abortion isn't. Okay. Then I agree on you. What is the third one? I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that.
So I observe there's no evidence for a God, and therefore I don't believe in one.
Okay. Then yeah, I agree with you. Trans men are men, agree with you. What is the anti-death penalty? What do you
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Well, I'm anti the death penalty, so I don't want the death penalty to be enacted.
but I mean, do you really want someone who has hurt multiple people still there and could possibly escape?
Well, we have to compare the likelihood of them to escape and hurt more people to the likelihood of us unnecessarily hurting them. And it seems incredibly clear that one certain unalive, their own death, which could or could not be innocent based on the statistics, right? We have at least 4% of the past people that were either on death row at one point or unalive due to the death penalty were innocent. So we could be risking innocent lives. So we are already risking innocent lives when we engage at the death penalty, and we're certainly ending one life when we engage in the death penalty. And just the statistics on the danger that they are, when they're in prison is just dramatically lower, especially in high intensity prisons.
I mean, I will say the death penalty was like back in the day was very, very cruel, but it isn't as cruel as it used to be. It's still pretty cruel. I'll give you that.
Is it? Is it less
Compared to what it
cruel?
used to be, compared to what it used to
The
be,
the injection is one of the more cruel ways to unalive people that has ever been thought of.
most people do that on the daily. Yeah.
No, the injection causes them to feel like they're burning up from the inside, but the
Oh, I did not
paralytic
know that.
stops them from being able to move and show it. And the paralytic is given primarily for the benefit of the audience and the people doing it so they aren't traumatized from the incredible pain that they're being put through. The
What the?
injection is not painless in any way, shape, or form. It's one of the more painful things that could go under.
Okay, never mind. I did not know that. I'm sorry. I thought it was just like a, night night.
No.
Okay, never mind. I agree with you.
Slay. I appreciate you coming up.
Okay, bye.
Hello, you little fudge pecker. I agree with everything except for the anti-death penalty.
Great. Why are you pro death penalty?
Because it should be recommended for the LGBTQ community, the death penalty. And
Great.
gays.
Wonderful.
You're welcome.
Everyone got his account?
Pardon me?
Great. If you caught his username, drop it in here.
Hi.
Yellow. Would you send a guest request to disagree on?
The trans topic.
Great. What's your opinion?
Personally, I don't really think they're like real men or women. Most likely I think they're trans women and trans men.
Well, they are trans women and trans men. Why would a trans man not be a real man? What do you mean by real man as opposed to just man?
Okay, let me explain myself because obviously I didn't make it clear. Men and women everyone knows men and women are different, you know? A man cannot do what a woman does, and a woman can't do what a man does.
In what capacity?
In what capacity?
Because in most capacities, that's not true. So you have to be very specific.
A man obviously cannot get pregnant, for example. A man can't have a period.
Some can.
In what way?
I mean, trans men can and some intersex men can. But also, what year were you born?
But they're female. I'm born 2004.
Wonderful. Yeah, once again, intersex people actually, some can be male and still have a period or still get pregnant.
Yes, but they're
and properly be
female.
classed as males. That wouldn't be accurate. They might have some female characteristics.
That's intersex, though.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said it was intersex.
Yes, but biologically, we know only women can get pregnant and experience periods.
I mean,
so you can't.
That's
really
not the opinion of the biologists. Like, ask the biologists, and we can talk.
Then who else
That's not
can
the opinion of
experience
the AMA.
periods?
That's not the opinion of the APA. That's not the opinion of like most major biological organizations within America. So what biologists, I guess I would ask.
I don't know any biologists, but everyone knows only.
So you cited made up people? Like, is just like biologists in like your delusion? Like what? Like
In my
okay, so
delusion.
you just lied.
No.
So you said that's what the biologists say, and you can't tell me the biologists?
I didn't say the biologists. I said in biology.
Oh, okay. What biology? According to whom?
Well, okay. Let me ask you a question then. According to who, not all women can get pregnant.
Yeah, not all women can get pregnant. That's true.
According to who?
My mother, who cannot get pregnant.
And why can't she get pregnant?
How's her tubes died?
Wait, say that again?
She had her tubes died.
Okay, but she was born a female.
And can she get pregnant?
Not now, no.
So not all women can get pregnant?
Well, you're here, so obviously she could get pregnant.
She could, yeah. But she can't now. But also there are plenty of women that can't ever. Do you deny that?
No, because I know some women are born without a uterus, yes.
Great. So why are you saying nonsense? Like, what are you saying? What you're saying is nonsensical. You said all women can get pregnant. That's wrong. You know that's wrong. What are you saying?
Well, okay. Everyone knows only women can get pregnant. A biological male.
But you can say that more and more and more. It doesn't make it true.
Listen,
Prove
I'm
your
not done.
point.
I'm not done.
You keep saying the same thing,
Women
right? And it's still not true.
Will get pregnant. If a woman is born without a uterus, then something has gone wrong. It isn't, they're not a woman because something went wrong. That little percentage that something went wrong does not define her as a whole. If a human
and yet
is not
you are
born
defining
without a
her
leg,
by that ability. And yet you are defining her by that ability.
Yes, because by the nature,
so that little
only
percentage
women
does
can
define
get
her by
pregnant.
your definition.
No, by the nature, only women can get pregnant.
What does it mean to be of the nature to?
Of the nature to is like something that naturally happens.
Because not a single reputable biologist uses that terminology. Because it's nonsense.
I'm not a biologist.
Clearly. But what does it mean to be of the nature to do something?
Of the nature to do something is when something naturally occurs.
But it doesn't naturally occur to them.
For that little percentage of people who cannot get pregnant, yes.
Exactly. So then by the definition you just gave, they're not of the nature to do it because it didn't naturally occur.
Because it didn't happen, something went wrong.
But because it didn't happen, it didn't naturally occur.
Yes, it didn't naturally occur to them. But
so they aren't of the nature to do it.
All women by the nature
So they don't
can
have the
get
nature
pregnant.
to do it then.
Yes, they do, but something went wrong.
So can you give
If
me
a
a definition
human,
of the nature to do
if
something?
a human is, everyone knows humans are born with 2 arms and 2 legs. If a woman can, if a human, sorry, if a human is not born with a leg, that does
Getting your
not mean
Matt Walsh points mixed up there. Watch more Prager you,
that they're not a human, you know? You get what I mean? You've heard this point before. You've probably seen it on TikTok.
Yes,
I
because
mean,
humanity is defined not by having 2 arms and legs,
then what is it defined by?
right? It's actually very complex to define what a human is by. You could
Yes,
take the
it's very
species.
complex to define what a
I
woman
know, but you're
is.
not engaging in that complexity. You're actively ignoring the complexity. You see how that's what you're doing? I'm the one engaging in the complex understanding of both gender and sex. You're the one denying the complex relationships between sex and sociology, right?
Yes,
You're
because
the one
that's my
denying the
opinion.
complex science of biology that affects sexual biology, right? You're simplifying it down to 2 categories, maybe 3 that you barely understand within intersex, right? You're the one ignoring the complexity, right? So I'd love if you could engage with the complexity rather than regurgitating right-wing talking points. Obviously, being human has nothing to do, right, with having 2 arms or 2 legs. Everyone knows that, right? So the point that you made is totally irrelevant to your point when you're trying to conflate physical characteristics with one's gender. Because we all know that physical characteristics, right, in the fact of having 2 arms or 2 legs is not what defines you as a human.
Great point, I guess.
So make a better argument.
So make a better argument. I mean, I've stated all my points. If you don't agree, that's fine. You know?
The points were okay. If you stated all your points, right? First of all, I've read the PragerU manual. There are like 10 more that you can get. But second of all, right? Like, why do you actually believe this, right?
Because
You
in
recognize that being a
that's
woman
how
means
it is
more
in
than just having
Islam,
a
you know?
vagina. You know that, don't you? When I say you're womanly, I'm not saying
Yeah.
you very much so have a vagina,
Well,
right?
that's
So
really what it
how
means.
does your worldview account for what we mean?
What?
How does your worldview account for that?
I don't really know, dude.
Then your worldview is insufficient, and change it. That's what this live is meant to do, right? We're attempting to show insufficient worldview so that y'all are motivated to change it. Why are you unwilling to do that?
Why am I unwilling? Because that's in my religion. I'm Muslim.
Okay. So you don't. So it's okay. This is really frustrating for me, and I think you can understand why it's really frustrating to me.
You don't have to be
Because you are a
frustrated, dude.
liar
You
as
can have
well.
just a calm argument, you know,
No,
like
I don't have to
we're
be
just
calm. I don't have to
debating.
be. I don't. No. I don't have to be calm. I don't have to be shit for you. You came up here making one of the most garbage right-wing arguments I've ever heard, right? And then when you lose it, when you fail it, when I respond to it in its entirety, right? You're like, oh, actually, it doesn't really matter what you say. It doesn't
I
really
did not say
matter
that. You're
if my
putting words in
argument's
my mouth.
insufficient. It doesn't really matter if it's correct. My religion. That makes you a liar. Because when you come up onto a debate and you make an argument, you at least pretend that it matters that you make that argument, right? But you don't, because you are just going to engage in your religious delusion.
My religious delusion. Okay.
So stop speaking to people that want to live in reality when you are utterly unwilling to engage and cope
How is your
stop
reality more
pretending like
correct
you're
than
trying
mine?
to engage in reality, right? When you are unwilling to change your view of reality from the delusion that's been taught to you.
The delusion that's been taught to me? I could literally say the same to you, but I won't.
You couldn't, because if you make an argument that actually engages with facts and demonstrable evidence, I will engage with it. But you have demonstrated and you have admitted verbatim that you are unwilling to do the same. Because you are much more tied to your dogma and your religious delusion, your mythological delusion, than you are to engaging with the real issues that are affecting everyone in their life. Engaging with
affecting
reality.
everyone in their life. The fact that I think that trans women are not real women, that's affecting every
It
human
is
in the world.
reality, right? You are unwilling to engage with reality. So if you're not willing
No,
to
I'm not.
engage with reality,
Reality
what are
is
we debating
women
here?
are
What are we
women, men
talking
are
about?
men,
What
and
are
you
we talking
cannot
about?
change your
Do we want to talk
gender.
about an interpretation of the Quran? Do we want to engage in your religious delusion and talk about your theology? Right? But like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how I interpret your mythology, right? It matters
Yeah,
how we
it doesn't
interpret
matter
reality.
that. Oh my God. Sorry. Anyways, I don't know how you're calling me delusional for believing in Islam when you're the one saying that men can literally just transform into women.
Look, we can talk about religion if you want. If you can prove to me that Islam is
No, thank
correct,
you.
right? I would love to
No,
talk
thank
to you
you.
about it. But you can't. So when you have an unjustified opinion, right, that is based off of years of cultural programming, just like Christianity is, just like many other religions are, right? I'm going to call you deluded.
So I can do the same thing because you believe that men can become women.
Wait, but that's based off actual facts, evidence, and observations, right? Yours is based off consistent social delusion.
No, it's not. Everybody knows
Because
that
wait, no, but
only women
here's
can
the
get
difference.
pregnant.
I'm willing to engage in an argument and prove my point. You are not. I asked you if you could prove your religion to be true, and you said you didn't want to / couldn't, right?
Yes,
Which
I
means
won't
that
prove my
I'm going to
religion.
continue to believe that it's delusional, and you can't disagree with me, right? If someone is unwilling or unable to prove that what they're saying is true, right? It's well within my rights to observe that it's a delusion or false, when I've observed many other people that have equivalently ridiculous views be deluded or false.
Great for you.
So
I
don't
mean, you
bitch and moan
can.
when I call you delusional.
Okay, call me delusional then. It really does not affect me. Men cannot become women.
It seems to affect you.
No,
Great.
because you're the only one speaking.
I don't think I am.
Well, right now you aren't because I'm speaking. But my point
That's
still
how it
is
works.
that only women are born with a uterus, and men cannot do the same duty as a woman, and a woman cannot do the same duty as a man, and it's facts.
You can
It's like,
reiterate the nonsense. It doesn't make it more true. I
yeah,
heard you
you
the
can
first time.
reiterate
You
your
think that saying
nonsense. It
something
doesn't make it
because
more
just
true
because that
either.
worked for you to just because that worked for you to convince you of religion doesn't mean that it's going to work for me to change my reality.
Yeah,
Right?
the same
Repeating
for you.
something, hear me out now. Here's
Yeah,
what maybe
you're
religious people don't
repeating that
understand.
I'm
Repeating something
delusional. That
doesn't
does
make
not
it true.
make me believe that.
Repeating something does not make it true. So do you have any new points?
Not really, since you're repeating the most of the same things too.
I don't think I repeated a full argument once.
All right then. But
So you were
honestly, you're just
wrong.
trying to convince
Do you
me
have
that you're
another
correct and
point?
I'm
Do
wrong.
you
And
have another
honestly,
point? Or are
I
you gonna
don't
leave?
I don't know how to leave you. You can kick me out if you want, but it was nice talking to you.
It's a fascinating final point by her. Anyway, keep on talking. I appreciate it. Hello.
Hey. Hey. Trans men are men. Okay. So every person is a cis or trans.
What?
Every person's cis or trans.
I think there are people that don't really neatly fall into those two categories, but the vast majority of people tend to be, yeah.
Okay. So a transgender man would be a male woman, correct?
No.
Why? They're male?
A
There's
transgender woman.
would be a
Oh
male
yeah, no,
woman.
no. A transgender woman would be a male woman. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think, did you switch that up there for a second?
No, I didn't.
Because I swear to God, I thought through that. Sorry.
No.
Okay, yeah, a transgender woman would be a male woman. Yeah,
And
that's fine.
and then the vice versa to that would be a female man.
Yeah.
Okay.
He did. Okay, good. I'm not going crazy. You did switch it up. Good, good, good. Thank God. Bless my heart.
I didn't switch it up. So
Literally everyone in the comments said you switched it up, so I'm going to believe them.
Okay.
But yeah, great.
So then they never change from being a male. A female would be a female woman.
Well, a cis woman would be a female woman. So you're just saying that sex. You're just saying that sex. You're just 1 second. You're just saying that sex and gender can diverge, which is I agree. Sex and gender can diverge. Great.
Okay, but I think you confuse people with trans men or men, because I'm saying I'm just clarifying the point that actually they're male women and they're not men.
No, transgender women, transgender men. Wait, you've said it again. Wait, yeah, you've said it again. You said transgender men are male women.
Yes, which is correct.
No, transgender men are not male women.
What are they?
Female men.
A trans man or a trans woman. I get it. I did. You were right. Look at that. But anyway, I think that adds more clarity than just to say a trans woman is actually a male woman. It adds more clarity. And everybody
You can
would
add more clarity. Wait, but you can add more clarity or verbal complexity, right, to literally anything. I agree.
Yeah, but I mean,
You can be more clear ad infinitum.
if trans women were saying that they are actually male women, then everybody would agree with them.
I don't think they would.
I think so. I think you should change your question, and I bet you get more people that agree with you. Anyway, my thoughts. Take care.
You too. Just so everyone knows, this is not a My Thoughts Live. This is a debate live, my loves.
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah. Okay, so are you saying that people that turn into men are now men?
People that turn into men, so transition are men? Yes.
Okay, I disagree with that. Oh, and also age check, I'm
Okay,
18.
why?
I was born in 2005, October 3rd.
Congrats. Yeah. Would you so you disagree with transgender people being valid? Why?
Because I think that it's like physically impossible for someone to switch their gender. It doesn't work like that.
Why?
Say it all they want, but it never actually makes it true.
Great. Why? Like, do you give me any complex conversation to work with, right? What is gender in your view, right? What are the qualifications of gender in your view? Is there a distinction between gender and sex
Gender
in your
is
view?
what you're born with. It's what you're born with.
So
It's like it's physically and it's not possible to switch what you're born with. You can say it and act like it. No, it's not.
Really?
You can act like it and say it, but it never makes it true. It never actually changes what you are.
So I'm the same that I was born as?
Yes. Like
Do I
no
have the
matter
same,
what you say or
do I have the same, do I have the same number of teeth as when I was born?
No. That's not the same
I've
thing.
had my appendix taken out. Do I have the same number of organs as when I was born?
That doesn't matter.
Do I have the same height as when I was born? Do I have the same
No.
weight? Do I have the same muscle
No,
mass? Do
but
I have
your
the same
gender
body
is
fat
like,
percentage? Do I have the same
that's
amount of
something you
bones?
can't change.
Great, so you
It's
can change
physically
things
not
than
impossible.
when you
It's
were
physically
born.
not possible.
Prove that to me. I can change a lot of things about my body. What's special about age?
Yeah, you
Or
can
what's
change
special
it, but it
about
never
gender?
makes it true.
So I don't have
It doesn't matter, like,
fewer
if you
teeth?
get surgery to do anything like that, it never actually changes what you are. You're always going to be a what you were born with.
So I'm always going to have no teeth outside of my gums, no matter how much surgery I get.
That's not what I'm talking about.
I know, but you need to be precise. So be precise in what you're saying, and then what you're saying won't be objectively stupid.
How am I
Because
being
the
stupid?
words that are coming
We're
out of your
talking about
mouth
we're talking
are
about
dumb.
gender.
It's the things that you're saying, even if you mean something different than what you're saying, right? What you're saying is objectively stupid because obviously we are different than when we were born. And surgeries do change us, right, from when
Okay.
we were born.
Yeah, you have a good point. You can change from when you're born, but like the gender, we're talking about gender here, or your sex, you can't change that. That's the one
Okay,
thing
so
you
what
can't
is
change.
sex according to you?
Sex is what you were born with. Like when you were
What
made,
about
that's
what I was born with? Is sex the amount of teeth that I have?
no. Your
Is sex
gender.
my eye color?
No. You're a man.
Is sex
You're a man.
the size of my nose?
No.
What is sex then?
I'm a male. I'll always be a male. If I get
What
like
does that
if
mean? What does that mean? What does that mean?
that means what you're born with. It just
I'm born with my eye color.
no,
Is
not
that
with
sex?
like what you are.
I am blue-eyed. Is that my
Gender.
sex?
Gender.
What do you mean by these terms?
Dude. You know what I mean.
What are you referring to? I know what biologists mean, but biologists disagree with what you're saying. Okay? So biologists affirm transgender identities by and large, okay? So even if I gave you the benefit of the doubt by taking the well-affirmed and well-understood concept of sex and gender, right? You would be wrong. So what you
Sex
need to
and
do
gender are the
is
same
provide
thing. You're born a male, you'll
no,
always be a
but
male. Nothing
not
can
according
change
to the
that.
vast. That's just wait, no. Not according to the vast majority of biologists. Not according to the vast majority of biological organizations.
You can't
Not
Google
according to the
something and
AMA
it means
or
it's
the
true.
ABA or the vast majority of medical practitioners in this country.
You
Okay,
can't Google
so
something that makes it true.
no. But the thing is when no one agrees with you, I have nothing to go on other than what you say. Okay, so you need to provide me an argument. I could assume in your argument, but then I would assume in an argument that disagrees with you. You understand how that works? If I went by the authorities, right, you would be wrong. So make an argument showing me, giving me a counter to what everyone else says.
It really can't get more simpler than this. It doesn't matter how many studies are out there. Whatever whatever sex you're born with, it physically cannot change. It's just what you are.
What does sex mean?
It means the gender that you were biologically born with.
What does gender mean?
There's two genders, male and female.
Okay, what does it mean to be male?
Having a penis.
So people that do not have penises are not male.
Well, in the rare case, if they're actually born with multiple parts, then I guess not.
So, is it true that except for intersex people born in a certain way, if you do not have a penis, you are not a male?
Mm-hmm.
So trans women who have had Bartum surgery are not males?
No.
So trans women aren't males. And if there are only two sexes,
does trans woman mean women that
would be
transition into men?
female.
Does the term
No.
trans woman mean a woman that turned into a man?
No.
A man that turned into a woman?
Yeah.
Yeah, that can't happen.
So I'll reiterate the line of thinking that got us here. You said that no one who doesn't have a penis, or anyone who doesn't have a penis, is not a male. Can't be a male without a penis. But a person that's transitioned to being a woman, a trans woman, does not have a penis, which would make them not a male, by your definition.
It doesn't matter if it was like if they got surgery to make it like anything happen. Like if you're a dude, you got it taken off, you know what I'm saying? Like that doesn't make you a woman.
So I'm going to make your argument for you, and you're going to thank me. Your argument is that in order to be a male, you must be born with a penis.
Yes.
Because that's not what you said previously. Great. And you believe that being a male is the same thing as being a man.
I love how everyone that's saying L guests is just a bunch of faggots, bro.
We're gonna...
Yep.
Yeah, you can't say slurs. Okie dokie. Let's keep going, everyone.
Hey, what's up?
Not too much. What about you?
Oh, not a whole lot. I'm just gonna talk about anti-death penalty. I pretty much agree with what I've heard from you in the previous debate. I've been up for a little while, but I just wanted to, I guess, debate the anti-death penalty. So you are like anti-death penalty no matter what crime was committed, I'm assuming?
Yep.
Okay. To an extent, I agree, because as a human being, I feel like no one should have a right over someone else's life. But the truth is, in this very, very dark world, there are just some things that if you are such a threat, then I do in fact believe that yes, there should be some, not all, but some crimes that are committed to where yes, in fact you do either get the chair or the infusion, whatever it may be. Reason being that because prime example, let's say that a 13-year-old kid goes to juvie, gets out at 18. When he went to juvie, it was for violent crimes. He gets out, you know, gets bullied or whatever in high school, goes to shoot up a school. That I'm not saying, you know, he should automatically get the death penalty for that. But if we're looking at someone with already a criminal violent history, because not all criminals are violent, we have to remember this. So if a person that continuously, not just once, but continuously takes people's lives, yeah, I think at some point they should do something about it other than wasting our tax money, giving them food and a place to live, you know.
So we should wait, but here's the really big thing. So we should waste our tax money giving them the death penalty, which is more expensive?
Explain to me how the death penalty is more expensive.
Well, it just in fact is. Like the DOJ has reported consistently that it is, and the New York Department of Justice also reported that it is. It's well known that it is. It consistently is. So that's just the fact of it. So if we're really looking to save money, we would actually be anti-death penalty. But if you want to understand why, it's primarily to do with the clemency and appeals process that is necessary in the death penalty.
Huh. I did not know that. Thank you for informing me, bro. I did not know that. That is insane. So it's actually more expensive for the death penalty versus someone having, let's say, a 20-year sentence?
Yep.
That blows my mind. That is so insane. Well, that I just, you know, I'm not Sheldon from Big Bang, man. I'm not the most intelligent being, so I'm gonna let you bring up another guest. I just wanted to state my opinion and keep doing what you're doing, man. I like the live, and it seems like you got a loyal fan base down here. So much love to everybody.
Hey, well, I appreciate you.
Absolutely, man. Maybe again we can debate another subject sometime.
Yeah, bets.
Absolutely, bro.
I saw Darren say something, and it made me cackle. So let's see if we can get Darren up here. Oh, did I let Jacob up instead of Darren? Wait 1
Hello.
second, Jacob. Second, sorry. Re-request. I meant to click Darren just because it's very topical.
Hello.
Hello, Darren.
How you
Hello.
doing?
So you said something in the comments that I did read. Were you the one that said so short in the appeals process?
Nah, you got wrong Darren, mate. You got the other one.
Boo, 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 boo. Okay, what would you send a guest
No.
disagree on?
My question was like, how can you be agnostic atheist? It's like, does that mean you're not sure that you don't believe?
No. So I observed that there's no evidence for God, and therefore I don't believe in one.
Yeah, no, me neither. I'm an atheist, but like, you had the agnostic atheist, so I'm not.
Yeah. So agnostic is just the comment on knowledge, and
Yeah,
then
that means you're not
atheism is comment
sure.
on belief.
Yeah,
Well, no,
agnosticism means you're
I'm
not
very
sure.
sure.
Atheist,
It's not about surety.
yeah.
It's that you observe that there's no evidence for or against a God.
No, that's atheism. That there's no evidence against God or whatnot. Agnostic means
No.
you're not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not so. Let me just set this out. The option from this view, from this description, agnostic atheism says that there is nothing. We know nothing about the existence or non-existence of a God, and therefore I don't believe in one. That would be agnostic atheism, right? Gnostic
that's atheism.
atheism.
No, that's atheism.
Well, Darren, just hear me out now.
Yeah, go on. So no disrespect. Go on.
Yeah, a Gnostic atheist would say, I have evidence that God does not exist.
But you're not sure about that evidence.
So a agnostic atheist would say, I do not have evidence that a God exists or does not exist, therefore I do not believe in one. Whereas a Gnostic atheist would say, I have evidence that a God does not exist. Gnosticism versus agnosticism, right, has to do with the knowledge that one has.
I don't know. I'm just atheist. So, yeah. No, but thank you very much for clearing it up.
No problem.
Just chat soon. I'll give you a follow as well.
Great. Well, I appreciate you coming up.
No worries. Take care. Have a good one, mate.
You too. Anyway, so we have doubled our viewership. Thank you to everyone who follows me on here. I do appreciate that. And thank you to everyone that goes, just take 2 seconds in between. I promise you won't miss much. Go click on the link in my bio, follow my YouTube. I'm really trying to get my YouTube going. I'm going to have lives going on my YouTube pretty much succinctly, equally with this. And I'm going to be posting some exclusive videos on my YouTube. So please do go follow that. It just is better for me, and it, makes me able to talk more. So I like talking. Hello, Nikki.
Well, hello. We meet again.
I believe we have spoken again. Do you talk about the trans issue? If I
We
remember
were on
correctly?
Man's debate a couple nights ago.
Yes, we were. Okay, sorry. I talked to a lot of people.
Oh, I
Forget about
know.
it.
You did an amazing job on there, by the way.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's not an issue I typically talk about. But would you send a guest request to talk about here?
So let's talk about the anti-death penalty.
Great.
Okay, so I definitely get your point as far as like the legal standpoint and the fiscal standpoint. So I'm just going to talk about it from a morality standpoint. Because, okay, so I definitely do believe there are some crimes where the death penalty, morals aside, it should happen. It should happen.
But why? Like, from my view, we should only do things if we have a good reason to do them, right? And if it doesn't, and that reason needs to be benefiting me or society, right? Like, it needs to be benefiting someone. And the death penalty doesn't benefit people on net. It hurts people on net. It's an unnecessary, unproductive death that hurts the people that care about the criminal, right? And maybe provides some emotional aid to the victims, but that has to consistently be well outweighed by the risk of, innocence. So how can we justify taking an action that will certainly endanger innocent people, right? And certainly hurt and unalive someone, as well as the people that care about them.
Okay, true enough. Okay, so I'll use the standpoint of the greater good. So it may hurt the people that care about the criminal, but what if we're sacrificing one for the betterment of all?
In what way is it better for all? It doesn't reduce the crime rate.
It might not reduce the crime rate on a macro level, but it can. Okay, so for example, if you have a serial rapist, if
Let's
you
use
have,
TikTok-friendly language.
oh, I'm sorry,
The
great.
serial essayer. You're all
Okay,
good.
my apologies. If you have serial SA, um, I'll use that as an example. So somebody may very well, if you take the case of John Wayne Gacy, who had a family, nobody knew what he was doing, but he was out here doing the most. His wife probably loved him, but look at all the carnage that he caused. I think society would do quite well without him.
But who does it benefit is the question.
Society.
In what way?
He's no longer here to do the atrocities that he was doing while here.
But like, okay, so it reduces the crime by preventing him from continue to offend. I would love to see what the reoffense rate is, right? When we put them in a high security jail, right? Or like isolated, or like high security, high protection jail, right? If that compares to the risk to innocent people. I don't think the number is on your side there.
Okay, that's why I said I'm speaking of it from not a statistical viewpoint,
But
because
everything is statistical. You're talking about the greater good. It needs to be the greater good, not the greater harm. And if it's causing more harm than it is good to the greater society, right, then we can't do it. I recognize that it might prevent some crimes from continuing to happen. The number is incredibly small, right? The number is incredibly low by comparison to the risk to innocent people that it has. By comparison, to the hurt that it will certainly do to them and certainly do to their family. Once again, and I don't see that calculus working out. It's ultimately a calculus,
so
and
do
it
you
doesn't
think that,
really function.
so if we knew that in society certain things definitely 100% will have it's a wrap, and I'm going to use some if factors. If we knew that it would be the death penalty and the death penalty would be swift, could that possibly deter other people from doing it?
So we don't deter other people from engaging in the crime?
Correct.
No, there's never been any data showing an increased deterrence effect of the death penalty.
Okay. We know that there are some states that have the death penalty. It's not necessarily guaranteed. If there were stricter laws, that's what I'm saying.
No, but
Do
you
you
would
think that
think
would be
that
a
it would be on a
possibility?
curve. It would be on a curve. You wouldn't, there isn't this magical line where it's like this much death penalty does it. You would imagine that more death penalty equals more deterrence, but that's not what we see. We don't see any amount of death penalty having any
Okay.
amount of deterrence.
Okay, that's why I'm asking. I remember from the debate that you are studying law. Law is
Mm-hmm.
not my field. I'm in the mental health field. So these are things that I don't have information on, and I don't pretend to have information on. So that's why I'm asking.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, it's fair enough.
You know, to
That's my
be
general
clear.
view, is that ultimately you'll put innocent lives at life. You will unalive someone, you will hurt their family, and you'll cost taxpayer dollars more. I don't see a moral justification for that when it doesn't reduce crime, and it doesn't really prevent crime, again, by comparison to a life sentence, and it, a huge amount of things.
Okay, so let me ask you this because I don't know. So I would like to to gather information because this is interesting. With the previous gentleman or the one before that, you were saying that it cost more for the death penalty than it would to house
Yeah,
somebody
no.
for their natural life. How so?
Well, it is just true, right? So the American Justice Department, as well as the New York Justice Department, as well as the Vermont Justice Department specifically, did studies on this, and they showed that it increased costs. But the reason it increased costs is because of the increased legal and appeals process.
Okay. See, that's not what I was aware of because it's a larger or a grander scale for the appeals process for somebody that has the penalty versus somebody that's doing life.
Yeah.
Can you explain that to me?
They have to go through, like, I think one or two more, like, proper appeals courts and clemency courts specifically. And there's good reason for that, right? Because if you put them to death, right, you can't get exculpatory evidence after the fact. Whereas if you are in life in prison, you can let them go and then you lower the cost. So yeah.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. So, you know, as far as just like a moral standpoint, in my opinion, you know, I'm not against the death penalty.
Slay.
Okay. Well, I appreciate. Thank you for the information. I like to learn on all levels, especially things that I am not knowledgeable of myself. You know,
Great,
bring
yeah.
me back when we're talking about mental health, and then I probably can go toe to toe with you.
Great. Well, I appreciate you coming up. Yeah.
All right, now have a good one.
You too. I know I was right. I'm aware that I was right.
Good
Hello,
evening.
Jacob.
Hello. How are we doing tonight?
Doing real well. How about you?
Oh, you gotta be. I could be doing a little bit better, to be honest. So, the last guest kind of touched on the death penalty thing. I have a question about the whole feminist thing.
Sure.
So, what do you? I'm trying to find the white bull, bro. I can't talk right now. I'm sorry. What do you consider feminism to be?
So I don't believe that we should consider gender in
No.
social or legal conceptions.
No, I'm not in the bathroom. To whoever said that in the comments, I'm underneath the car. So, oh boy, I'm stuck. So do you? Oh my God. So, in what way do you believe that women are lower than men in such a way that it would need to be changed?
Lower the, well, I mean, there are a huge amount of ways. I think the economic distribution is clearly women are extraordinarily disempowered. Historically, politically, women are extremely disempowered in religious leadership positions and across the board leadership positions. Women are disempowered. If you ask people who they think are better leaders, people have obvious biases unfounded by science and experience and data on who is better leaders. A huge amount of things. Yeah.
In what way do you think we should fix that?
I mean, the first is talking about like the biases that we hold, but secondarily, we can take affirmative action, right? We already have done it in education, but ensuring and protecting the right of employment, right? Economically enriching and actively pushing political candidates, condemning religious institutions that are consistently sexist, things like that.
Can you give me an example of which one of these do you believe is a problem area? Something sauce hot? Yes. Okay.
What?
No, I'm trying to get a number. Can you give me an example of?
Okay, brother.
Hey, Will.
Oh.
Can you hear me?
Oh, why has he not left my audio?
Yeah, that's what I was hearing too. Okay,
Yeah.
I think it seems to be good now.
Yeah.
Okay, right on, right on. Will, my dear friend, man, I always enjoy your lives, and I appreciate what you do. You know, I was a journalism major in college, and you said something a minute ago about wanting to kind of educate and combat, you know, some of the ignorant, and I mean that in the most respectful way, stances that that people have. So I definitely respect that. But if I'm being honest with you, my friend, I feel like the woman that was talking about trans men, our trans men, and she said she didn't believe that, and she kind of fell back on her religious beliefs. I think you may have been a little unfair to her, just in my opinion, because and while I disagree, I agree with you, I really do. I feel like her stance based on her religious reasons is valid. Even if we disagree on it, I feel like it's valid. And
Oh
here's
no,
my
no, no. I don't think so. Oh, I don't think so at all. But yeah, what's your
yeah.
point?
So this is kind of my example. I have never witnessed myself in 32 years. I've never witnessed a ghost, a spirit, an apparition. I haven't. I do believe there are people that have, though. Just because that is not my reality doesn't necessarily mean it's not someone else's. So I can't say, what I won't say is, well, ghosts don't exist because I've never seen one. It's true I've never seen one, but I can't definitively say that they don't exist. And I can't negate someone else's experiences with it. That's kind of how I look at the religion topic.
Yeah, so I'm an agnostic atheist, so I observed like that's my whole thing as well. I've never experienced any evidence for a God. Hello, Katya. Um, I've never experienced any evidence for a God either. I also don't think anyone else has, because by and large, the evidence is extraordinarily stacked against them, right, for having actually experienced what they say they experienced, or for that experience actually being evidence of God by comparison to other explanations, right? So that's the point. And it seems exponentially more likely that any individual being religious is much more tied to their culture and their personal teachings and what was taught to them, right, rather than the actual truth or non-truth of the given God proposition. Okay.
That's fair, and it's something that is not easy apparently to prove. As I am a Christian. I would call myself Christian, a believer in God, so to speak. And I think we've talked about the experiences that I've had that have made me believe what I believe. Now that's you know I could talk about my experiences, but I guess that doesn't serve as sufficient proof for someone else, it seems.
Okay, and that's fine. The difficulty is that they don't line up with other people's experiences of gods in any way, shape, or form. Who texted me that? Homie, are you going? 1 second. To the person that texted me the thing that they texted me, if you're going, let me know and I'll show up. I should be there as well. 1 second. Sorry.
No,
Um, yeah.
well, hang on. I want to back up for just a sec. You said that they don't seem to line up with anybody else's experiences as well. I would disagree with that. I know a lot of people that have
They
had.
seem very inconsistent, though. Like, the difficulty is that Muslims' experiences with God are drastically different than Christians' experiences with gods, are drastically different than Hindus' experiences with gods. And when they do line up, it seems by and large better explained by a shared cultural experience affecting what they expect to experience.
Okay, I see what you're saying there. Yeah, I think there's some common threads, and there are certainly some big differences. My opinion on that is that it kind of all leads back to the same thing. See, I'm not and this is where it gets into some of this. People say, well, this is the only way, and that's kind of where I differ from other believers, right? I think that there are multiple paths to the same place. So I think that there are multiple paths to, a God, a sovereign being that is, above humanity. That's my kind of general definition of a God. And I think there are multiple paths to that God. So I don't think the Christian path is the only path, or the Muslim path is the only path. And I think that's where I differ, because a lot of people tend to think that their way is just the right way.
Yeah, and
But
that's
there
fine.
are.
It just means that ultimately, if there are multiple paths, then these multiple paths serve as not not consistent guides, and it's not evidence, right? If there are multiple different stories in a conviction, right, that are drastically different, right, there's some difficulties with these eyewitnesses, and it
But
seems much more likely that they have individual cultural motives to have these certain eyewitness testimonies rather than an actual realistic excuse otherwise.
but as I
Yeah.
said, they're all leading to the same place, and I think those
But they
commonalities are
don't
enough, at
seem
least
to be.
for
They would be
me.
leading to drastically different things, right? God, according to Muslims, says an exactly opposite thing than God, according to certain Christians, right? God, according to Hindus, says something verbatim very opposite, right? So it's not leading to the same thing.
I
It's
mean,
leading to very different statements of God.
but it's the same being, right? Different accounts on the same being, right?
But
It's
is it the same being that's saying exactly opposite things to different people?
well. I mean, we could use that example in true life here, right? I mean, there. Okay, I'll give you an example of that. You could ask several people that know me about me, and they will all tell you different things that are either true aspects of who I am or their experience with me. Talking about the same person,
Different, but
but
not
you ask three different
they
people.
won't say at this time, at this place. Here's the difficulty, right? If God is perfect, if God is consistent, if God is all knowing, all being, he won't contradict himself. And yet these accounts contradict themselves directly, right?
Okay, okay,
Like the
fair.
theological accounts between Hindus and Muslims, right, are opposites. Very different, fundamentally different,
That's
right?
true.
They're just entirely different. So you could say that there are vague similarities, right? But in no world can it be true that they are truly experiencing what is written down by the Hindus actually happened, and what is written down by the Muslims actually happened, and it have been caused by the same entity, right?
Okay.
That's not possible.
Okay, and that's fair. There are some major differences for sure, but and that's when I would refer back to my initial definition of what I believe God is. I said He's a sovereign being that's above humanity, right? So things do get
Who's
lost in
saying
translation.
contradicting things? That's my difficulty. He's a
Well, no,
sovereign liar.
but that's a transit. But that's like I said, things get lost in translation. So with the
Then
people
everything gets
example,
lost in translation.
let me back it up
If
to my
some
example.
things do, how do you distinguish between the things that do and don't?
Well, okay, and that's a fair point. That's a fair point. So for me,
But
I
if we can use that excuse with some things when they're just so flagrantly off, right? That makes the entire account less trustworthy. And I would say, right, that it makes the entire account useless.
I can't throw it entirely out because to me it's a likelihood, right? So what I do, I look at all, like I said, I was a journalism major. So the way that I approached I wrote for the school paper, when I would write a story, the way I approached it, I get all the information that I can, right? All the tangible facts. Okay, with some things, there were some times where that's fine if it's a story just based on facts. But there were plenty of things that that were more philosophical, right? More opinion based. So I would get like the incident that happened with the Black Student Union when I was at UWO. That was definitely an opinion thing and a perception thing. So I spoke with multiple sources on both sides of the issue. There was a comment made by the president of the School Boards Association, and some people took offense to that comment. So I spoke with people that supported what the president said. I spoke to the Black Student Union and some of the other minority student unions that were against what he said. These are different accounts, right? And these are people's opinions. So I formed my own opinion based on the information that I received. And I think that you can do that. I think you can infer things and come to your own conclusions based on the evidence and the facts that are available.
And I think you're able
Certainly.
to do that. I don't think that would lead you to religion, is my difficulty. Is because with it's these differences aren't just random, though. These differences aren't just arbitrary. People don't have opinions for no reason. People don't have different accounts for no reason,
Well,
right?
that's true.
And the question is what best explains these differences? And it seems that an atheistic worldview would much better explain the differences. The reason that perhaps Hindus have different accounts of what they consider to be religion, right, is because their culture and material settings were drastically different than the Muslims at the time, or the Christians at the time, or the Jews at the time, right? And this is when we start to see commonalities, right? Well, this culture actually kind of produces this type of religion. That seems much more compelling than believing that it's a supernatural being, because then we have predictive power. So it's not just arbitrary, oh, let me just hear all the information and then make my own opinion magically, right? We can formalize this process.
I agree. I totally
Right?
agree
We
with that. I
formalize how
guess
we engage it. And when you formalize it, the God proposition doesn't hold up.
I totally agree with that, my friend. I guess for me, the there again the points about the commonalities to me are stronger. Let's break it down. What are some of the differences that you're saying are so drastic that it wouldn't make sense that that all these roads are leading to the same place?
So the difference between Zoroastrianism and Christianity?
The difference between what?
For example, Zoroastrianism is a ditheistic religion. Christianity is a monotheistic religion. The difference between Greek mythology and Christianity, one's a polytheistic pantheonic religion, and one's, a monotheistic non-pantheonic religion.
Well, okay,
We can actually
be
see
fair,
the development of these beliefs throughout cultures, right? Like Judaism spawned from a pantheonic religion, right? And then became an ethno-religion, right, from a sub-pantheon of it. And then we saw them become, monotheistic, and that created a Christianity and then Islam, right? So we see these differences. It is not possible for the Christian God to be the one true God and for there to be a pantheon of ultimate beings.
no,
Those two things
I
can't
agree
be
with
possible.
that. I agree with that. So I guess I mean among the monotheistic religions, that would be Islam, Christianity, and Judaism.
But why would we throw that? Why would we do that?
Well, why would we? Because I feel like you have to compare apples to different apples, right? Not apples to oranges. A monotheistic,
But if we're
you know.
comparing the witness accounts, the witness testimonies, and the witness accounts of religion to the
Mhm.
witness accounts of religion, right? And we're talking about the overall validity of religion, it's really important to look at the diversity as a whole, not the diversity of let's just admit it, right? Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, which have a very common cultural heritage.
Sure.
Right? So the idea that, a religion that spawned from another religion and then there was another that then spawned from another religion, right? Islam spawned from Christianity, spawned from Judaism. Well, yeah, no shit, they're going to be quite similar. They are literally from the same thing.
Right. That's okay. I mean, yeah, that's a fair point. I so and you may know this. What is then I would look at, okay, what is most common among religions? What's most common? Would you say the monotheistic religions are more common than the pantheistic ones? I don't know this.
It's changed throughout history. Currently, monotheism is winning. In the past, pantheonic religions have won.
Okay. So there's no in in your account or in looking at the data, there's no. It's pretty. It changes, right? There's no. It
There
just kind
might
of
be a
depends.
51-49 split. Like, I don't really know. I think a lot of it comes down to how you split down Hinduism, quite honestly, which is a whole nother debate.
Yeah,
Um,
fair enough.
but there are really clear patterns as to when a society becomes pantheonic to when they become monotheistic, right? It actually tracks pretty well with development of technology within one society. Do you see an increase of monotheistic religion by comparison to pantheonic religions? Because typically what happens is you have an individual tribe that worships something of the land. They have something like a pagan religion. Maybe they develop a pantheon, right, themselves, the river, the forest, etc. But then a larger tribe comes, swallows them up, but then their religion is engulfed into the larger religion. That's what we saw happen with the Roman Empire. That's what we saw happen across the board with smaller tribes being engulfed into larger tribes, and then their gods joining the pantheon, right? But then you see kind of their tendency back towards monotheism as they develop, and then they move into like trying a unifying factor. But that typically has to do with, once again, that would kind of track. If an emperor wants to unify their people, they don't want them all praying to different gods. They want to unite them under one god. So once again, this is why it's the atheistic account of religion is much more compelling than the religious account of religion, because it actually lets us understand society more.
That's fair, and that's that. I preface this by saying it is difficult to prove. For me, but it's again personally. So there's that, and then there's my personal experiences. So when I put everything together, it makes sense to me because there's that aspect of it, but then there's also the aspect of what I've experienced personally, what other people that I know, family members, friends, et cetera, have experienced personally, and that's much harder to prove. But that's all part of the larger picture for me when I've decided that, hey, this makes sense to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's fine. And until I have those religious experiences, right, I don't think I, treated Muslims unfair by, calling them unable to engage with reality, because that's how she weaponized her religion to do so. But yeah.
Yeah, that's that. Okay, right. That was that's how we got here. I just felt like it was again my so once again going back to my example of I've never seen a ghost, right? I granted I don't necessarily believe that they're ghosts, but I can't say that this person that says they've had this experience and seen this hasn't. I can't tell them. I won't tell them that what they saw was not true. It was a delusion of their head or a dream or whatever, however I want to interpret it and invalidate the real experience that they had. And that's all I was saying. I thought you were being very fair, but for the most part, but the whole, your delusional thing I thought was a bit unfair. Because just because it's not real to you doesn't mean it's not real to her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But and again, I have a lot of respect for you, my friend. I really do, and I think that you are oftentimes very fair to some people that I probably couldn't be. You're very patient. Every now and again, I see that Aries come out, and today I felt like it was one of those times. But for the most part, you are very patient and very fair, and I think that's awesome. Because and I do think too that you have legitimately. I know this. I've seen this. You have legitimately open some minds, right? You've seen these moments where people are like, huh, okay, that's a good point. I'm gonna rethink this thing. And I love that you do that. So I love what you do and I respect you.
My goal.
For sure.
Hey, well, I appreciate it. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
One more thing, and this is a bit off topic, but I heard you say this actually a while ago, and it kind of intrigued me to the point where I definitely looked into it. And it was basically like LGBT men specifically, I believe, um, earn salary wise earn more than straight men. And so I did a little digging, and I see based on a couple articles and sources that I found, over the past couple months, that this is statistically true. But what I haven't been able to come up with is a why. They're like, yeah, we're seeing these statistics, and this is the numbers support this, but nobody seems to have a definitive clear reason as to why. And I was just curious about it. Several of the articles, this one in particular from the Harvard Business Review, kind of postulated that it might be kind of like a cultural affirmative action thing going on. And that may be true. But I just wanted to know your thoughts on it. I found it interesting. I think that's great.
Yeah.
Very supportive
No,
of
yeah,
that.
this is true, and this is kind of a statistic I stumbled upon. But it's also something I predicted. And maybe my prediction wasn't holistic, and it was just I predicted it just based on my personal experience, honestly. But then it is affirmed by the data. So basically, in my experience, gay men are more educated than straight men. That's my experience.
I think
Gay
that's
men are
true
more
too.
educated than straight men. Yeah,
Yeah.
gay engage in education more.
Then that makes a logical correlation, right? Because with that education is going to come, higher earning potentials, right? So that okay.
Yeah, that's what I've observed is they were more successful in school for a few reasons. First of all, because men are consistently like conditioned to not engage in education, right? Like part of masculinity is anti-intellectualism in part.
For sure.
So when a lot of queer men can feel freer from masculinity, you can engage in intellectual activities that reward yourself. And equivalently, at least the experience I've understood is that people, oftentimes they feel ostracized from society, and one way to find self-worth in that way is to get academic validation. But that doesn't really track, because if it's about bullying, obviously we have the exact opposite correlation with bullying, right? People that engage in, that get bullied have lower earning potentials. So I think it does have to do with the freedom from masculinity. And then what's really important is they still benefit from sexism. I don't mean that as it's really important in that, like, morally it's good. I mean that just in fact, right? What's a really significant factor here is women are more educated as well, right? Women get
Yeah,
higher,
that's the
get better masters, they do better on standardized tests, they do better on all these things, but they don't have that higher pay, and that's because they by and large have misogyny going against them. Whereas gay men do experience misogyny in some ways, but obviously to a much lesser and much different degree. So we still benefit from the patriarchy while being free from some of the negatives of masculinity, and that's what I would mainly put it to. There's one other important aspect here, which is that people. I'm in a library right now. That's why there are people walking by.
gotcha.
But the second part is there may be certain demographics that are more likely to identify as gay. Primarily because of deep-seated homophobia within poorer communities, and especially, just being quite honest, within the Black community. It's just statistically much less likely that a young Black man identifies as gay openly, right, than a young white man, because of certain cultural differences. And that might skew the data as well. It's also just statistically true that a wealthier person is more likely to be gayer than a poorer person, at least openly, right? The statistics, they're equally likely to actually be gay, but to openly identify as such. So that also might shift the skew, and I think that would also probably have a big difference.
That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of other factors, kind of going into this that I didn't necessarily look at. Yeah, thanks, man. That does make a whole lot of logical sense for sure.
And someone, if you're out there, should do this research.
Right?
Someone, write a paper.
I need to go back to school, because this is the kind of stuff that I love. I love this kind of stuff and finding these answers, So, yeah, for sure. Well, hey, man, I appreciate your time, brother. It's always a pleasure. Like I said, I got a lot of love for you, brother, and I have so much respect for what you do, and just keep doing that. I know there's some negativity out there, man, but don't, and you never let that seem to bother you, which is good. But yeah, you're making an impact out here. If you don't know it, you definitely are. I see it.
Great. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, for sure, man. I'd love to come back and chat with you another time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yeah, always a pleasure. Take care.
Peace out. Thank you for all the haircut comments. I don't know how I feel about it. It's a bit corporate, but we live on. Yeah. Guys, don't take honestly, I'm not the most educated person. Appreciate it. Welcome back. Thank you, Dean. Am I gonna be back? Do I have time to go live? No, I don't. Should I be working on my essays? Yes, I should. Yes, I should be working on my essays. I have a land law essay due that I should be working on. I have already submitted my tort law essay, though, so we live on. But we live on. We have some guest requests up here. No, okay.
Hello?
But honestly, I need to. So, hello.
How are you, Will?
Doing well.
That's good. Hey, I just want to say, I think you navigate conversations really well. You're really well-spoken. I've been watching you for a while, and it's our first time talking, but I enjoy your content, man. I think you're good at what you do.
Hey, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I was interested in talking about the trans men are men take that you've got up there.
Yeah, sure. What's up?
So, could you kind of elaborate on your position? Like, what does it mean to say that trans men are men?
So they fit at least one valid definition of a man, right? And the one I would provide is a person that identifies with the social construction in their society composed of masculine characteristics.
Okay, so I'm taking notes. You said someone who identifies with the social what?
Construction in their society composed of masculine characteristics.
And what are some examples of like masculine characteristics you would see?
So what makes a characteristic masculine is just that it is associated with males by the society that it's in. Masculine is a reference to societal connotations.
Okay. So if somebody were to not fit this definition, if they identified with feminine social constructs of society, then you would say that they are a woman.
So if they identify with the social construction composed of feminine characteristics, right, which is just a slight tweak to be quite clear, then yeah, I would say they're a woman in that sense.
So they're not necessarily, like, they don't have to subscribe to every single stereotype, but they want to identify with the construct that is woman or man, right?
Yeah, the whole. Yeah.
The whole, okay. So let's talk about this, because from the people I've talked to, they mention, when we're talking about transgenderism, a lot more of like they do mention the social aspect, but they also include like a psychological one, like a internal experience. Do you subscribe to that as well?
In some capacities, yeah. I think the social context is a lot more descriptive on a large scale, whereas the psychological context is a lot more descriptive on a personal scale. A lot of trans people report this experience, but I don't have that experience, so I can't speak on it as much.
Right.
Whereas within greater social context, I can talk about, greater social context.
Yeah. So hypothetically, if there was like a person who identifies as a woman, but they reject any like social stereotypes or characteristics of like what we think women should be like, what they should be interested in, what they should look like. If they reject all of the social aspect, they would still be just as valid in calling themselves a woman under your definition, right?
Well, I would ask them what they mean by them identifying as a woman. Because it's kind of like, so if they're using my definition of woman, it's meaningless to identify as a woman. And it's like saying, I'm a Christian, but I identify as a Christian. Like, what does that mean? It's like, you could identify as a woman under a different valid definition. I think there are multiple valid definitions of woman, right? But if they're using my definition and accepting that, then saying I identify as a woman, but I don't identify as the social construct.
Well, I mean, I think that's I guess I see a lot of women in my life who I would say like reject kind of the social construct of woman, but they're not like rejecting their womanhood. Like they still believe they're a woman, but they don't, I mean, like the word, like you've heard like people described as tomboys, like that's kind of what they like, a lot more things that typically guys like, and they don't dress like they kind of reject all the social aspect of it, but they know that they're a woman. So
what does that mean to them to be a woman?
Well,
that's the whole point.
They're using a different definition, right?
Give like an alternative definition that they're using, saying they still feel this way. Like, I agree, right? Because there are multiple definitions of this term, and you can be a woman in one sense and not a woman in this sense, right? Like, there are multiple senses of the term, and I agree with that. I'm saying at least one valid sense is this way. So yeah, you can identify as one in one sense and not be in another.
But like in your sense, though, like in your definition, that person wouldn't be like they're not woman enough because they're not acting out the feminine roles of society, or what?
It's not about how you act; it's about how you orient yourself. It's about how you identify. So you should find identification with this construct.
Is that an internal or an external thing?
Internal.
Oh, so the external expression doesn't matter. It's like it really comes down to I internally identify with what society calls a woman.
In slightly more descriptive terms.
Well, yes. Make it more descriptive. Like I don't want to put words in your mouth.
More descriptive terms. Yeah. The definition I provided.
Okay. So I guess I'm just kind of confused because on one hand you're saying that it's like an internal thing, but on the other hand they could reject, like, it's a societal thing, right? It's a societal construct.
So it's internal identification with a societal metric.
So the more that you, is there like a scale, like the more you identify with what society thinks is a woman, the more of a woman you are?
No, I think it's I think you either are the label or you are not. Gender is a complex and nuanced and possibly scaled thing. But I don't think basically anyone's more or less of a woman. I don't think that's really how you work.
So how could someone know what it means to have the internal experience of a woman? Like, how could someone recognize which experience that they're having?
How could someone recognize which experience that they're having? So society describes it to you, and then you see which one you identify with and vibe with. Like, what do you mean?
So society describes this is what a woman is, and you're either on board or you're not. Because I feel like the whole
Yeah, that's true of a lot of-
transgender.
yeah,
I feel like right now the LGBT movement is like going against the grain of what society has always said is like the definition of man and woman. So I don't feel.
Well, I mean, the definition of this particular word, maybe, but I think we're actually kind of in line with a long, long history, especially of non-colonial societies, of recognizing the fluidity of gender.
But like, if someone were to go against society, like like would they be? Is this kind of like a majority rule kind of thing? Like, what the majority dictates gender is, that's what gender is, and if you go against that, you're wrong?
No, so we're just observing, in fact, how this thing within society functions. I don't care if you agree that that's the correct observation, it's what the reality is.
I got what you're saying. Okay. That makes sense. You give a different argument from other people that I've talked to about this, but I appreciate your perspective.
Great. Well, I appreciate you coming up. Yeah.
Can I ask you one more thing?
Absolutely.
What is your do you have like a limit on pro-choice, or is it like full term, or what's your stance?
I think a woman should be able to terminate a pregnancy in some way at any point up until 9 months.
In some way, like including delivering the child, like a
artificial induction.
Oh, that's fancy. How does that work?
I mean, it's the most common form of termination of pregnancy. It's just inducing labor. So,
got you.
Like, you take a pill and your body causes you to give birth.
Oh, well, I clearly don't know what I'm talking about on that, and I deserve to be grilled for that, for calling it fancy. I guess it's pretty common.
Didn't mean to grill you, but
No, it's okay. Someone in the comments just said, fancy's done all the time. Okay, so do you feel like there's a responsibility to, like after the point of viability, let's say, to like keep the fetus alive, or does it not really matter?
So I think society has an obligation to keep the fetus alive. And I think the mother has an obligation to not violate the child's rights.
When do those rights begin?
Conception.
What rights begin at conception?
The same rights that the mother has.
So, like the right to life?
I mean, how I would describe the right to life, yes.
What gives like the mother the moral authority to terminate a pregnancy?
Well, how I describe this is that she doesn't have the obligation to give her body to the child, right? So if any law requires her to continue giving her body to her child, they're violating the mother's rights. So like obviously I can't come up and take your body. That would be violating your rights, even if I'll die without it. So my right to life doesn't include your body. So the child's right to life doesn't include the mother's body. So she doesn't have to.
You don't think that kids have like a
stop giving?
You don't think that kids have a right to their parents' resources?
So I don't think they ubiquitously have a right to. This is a complex question, right? but I don't think they ubiquitously have a right to their body regardless of the impacts. But that's a different, you see how that's a pivot, right? You see how
No.
that's a different question. You said what rights do they have, and now you're asking what obligations they have. And I said, well, so I said they have the same rights as the mother, right? And then
Yeah.
you started questioning as to what rights is the mother, right? And then you kind of realized, well, the mother also wouldn't have the right to the mother's body, or the mother wouldn't have a right to their mother's body, or right to another person's body.
Well, no, I
And now you're
think
talking
that
parents'
no,
obligations.
I actually
I think
wouldn't
it's
say
important
that.
that children have rights to their parents' things in some capacity, in some way. That's why I said society has an obligation to help this fetus. Society has an obligation to maintain this fetus's life. And how I would describe that is when you are a parent, when you take them home from the child, you are contracting with society to take over that obligation.
So how would society help a child in the womb if they're not like pro-life? What would be the route to
They're not
like
viable?
I mean, what do you consider viable? Like able to survive on machinery or on?
I mean,
See,
like viable, like medical
I don't think
viability.
that the value of the child changes with viability, because like viability
Nor do I.
changes with technology, right?
Yeah, I don't think value changes with viability. No one said that.
Then what changes with viability? What's
The
important
ability
in
of
bringing that up?
society to help it.
So at that point, okay, so if only the mother can help it, then it's like at its most dependent point. Why would that justify being able to terminate it?
Well, if only the mother can help it, and we can't force the mother to help it, then we are powerless to help it. You see how that works? If like this is how it works. Is like if someone else needs my kidney, and I'm the
No.
only one that can help them, right?
I know what you're saying.
Society, even if they have an interest in saving this person, can't force me to give me their kidney. So the fact that they're so deeply, drastically dependent, right, doesn't change my rights.
Okay, I would agree with you, maybe in like a legal sense, but I think in a moral sense, dude. And you can say this is a pivot, and it might be a pivot, but I really think that like parents, especially if you're the only one who can care for your child or provide it the resources it needs, you have a moral obligation as a parent to that child. Like, and I know
I
that
think there's maybe more. I think there's a moral obligation for everyone to help everyone. That's great, and I am morally mostly, yeah. My pro-choice position is a legal position up here. I in a lot of abortions, right? I'm against them morally.
Really?
I'm talking legally.
Wait,
Yeah,
but
that's been my position for a very long time.
why? I guess I haven't heard you talk about this. Why?
Either I'm ambivalent or I'm against them, right? It depends on where I consider life. But
What
it
would
just
make
doesn't matter
you?
because I'm not a woman. I'm not making that decision.
Yeah. What? Well, we can talk about that. I think that you can be a man and have, like a valid opinion about this. Like I don't think that like obviously I'll never know what it's like to have to consider that decision for my own body, and I'm not claiming to. But if this is immoral and this is not just ending a pregnancy, but it's actually like something, like murder, then I think that it's up to men and women to stand up, for the voiceless kind of situation. I don't think that just because like you're a man means you can't have an opinion on this. I don't know if that's what you were saying or why you made that comment.
My thing is like, here's the thing. The gameplay doesn't change as to whether I think it's immoral or not. If I think it's immoral, I'm going to advocate policies that reduce abortion. Right?
Yeah.
I'm going to do all I can to reduce abortion. And then if it's moral, guess what? I'm going to support those exact same policies because they are good policies anyway. Right? Like being pro-universal sex education, being pro-contraception, right? Those things actually work, right? Being pro-universal healthcare, those things have actually reduced abortion, right?
Yeah.
And I support them anyway. So if my game plan doesn't change, right, as to whether I think it's moral or immoral, and it'll never come up in my personal life, pray to God I never get anyone pregnant because that would be insane for my boyfriend to get pregnant, right? Like, that would be a crazy turn of situation, right? Or me get pregnant, God forbid.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't come up in my personal life, well, okay, I'll have that personal discussion with a woman that comes to me personally and asks me what I think they should do. And that'll be my good friend, and that'll, color my judgment. But, getting on here and talking about it, I think it's pretty obvious the policies that we should support.
Right on. All right. What's your problem with God, bro? Why are you so outspoken atheist?
I have no problem with God.
Oh, come on. Did you grow up Christian? Did you grow up Catholic or anything?
Nope.
Interesting.
Both of my parents are Christian, but I was raised a Unitarian Universalist.
Unitarian Universalist, dude. I was just in Florida and we passed one of those churches.
Love the UUs out there, everyone. Slay UUs.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about them, but I don't really know a lot about them, so I guess I have nowhere to.
They're real cool. They're real cool. Lots of
Yeah.
UUs are very cool people.
Wait, but hold on, we're Universalist, is that like everybody is saved, like all roads lead to God kind of thing? Because you were just talking to someone on here.
Yeah, so Unitarian Universalist used to be a conglomerate of Unitarians and Universalists, right? Where Unitarians don't believe in the Trinity, Universalists believe in the universal salvation of man, right? As you know. It's kind of evolved into what I'd kindly call a hippie religion, which is just it's an agnostic liberal faith with its roots in Christianity, but drawing wisdom from multiple religions. So, you know.
Wait, but do they okay? I literally went on their website and I looked up their like stances and stuff, and I feel like they don't have any like firm stances on anything. It's just kind of like everyone is welcome to come and believe what they want to believe. If you're a God believer, if you're an atheist, you're welcome to join us. Like I didn't see any
they're an
like
agnostic
do they so like how can you call it a faith if they don't have any doctrine?
Well, we do have doctrines.
Oh, well, what's your doctrine?
The 7 principles of Unitarian Universalism. So we just recognize. It's not quite a doctrine. We're a non-doctrinal, non-dogmatic faith, right? But it's just a generally agreed upon principle. And a guide for Unitarians.
Why call it a faith? Like, what's the purpose in using the word faith?
To describe the context in which we're meeting.
What does that mean?
People understand what a faith is, right? And fundamentally, whatever you find meaning and truth in, right, is your faith. I think that's fine.
So I mean, you can call it that, yeah. I feel like it's not a religion, right? Like you wouldn't even say it's a religion, and I guess I kind of
I'd say it's a religion. It's certainly a religion.
Okay.
But, I mean, the definition of religion, right? The belief in or worship of a superhuman power or powers, right? But another definition is a particular system of faith and worship, right? So we certainly have certain forms of worship.
Oh, really? What do you guys? What's a form of worship for you guys?
We engage in it's actually quite similar to Christian some Christian faiths worship circle worship what are they called? I don't know. Fucking preachers and shit.
Like a service.
Like a service, yeah.
Yeah, or as Steve Harvey says, church. So worship though, what are you directing your worship at a something or someone?
No, we're non-sectarian, babe.
What's non-sectarian?
It's just
dude, I'm slow, man. I dropped out of college, man. You can't. What is that?
We're non-sectarian. So okay, first of all, have you read the 7 principles?
No, I just told you I didn't even know that they existed, man. I'm learning so much right now.
Yeah. No, so just basically it's very loose, non-dogmatic, but generally it's just we generally view ourselves as a community with a common purpose to engage in truth and meaning. Right. That's the goal.
Would you say you
with
guys
common
are
liberal views?
Would you say that you guys are super chill?
I would say that we're super chill. I would say that we're super chill. We're super chill.
Dang.
We're great.
Okay. So what do you think about the man Jesus Christ? What's your thoughts on him?
The historical take on him. I think historical Jesus is pretty well proven.
Historical Jesus. So do you accept the gospel accounts as history?
I accept them as historical, sources. Are they reliable historical sources?
I guess that's my question. Why don't
are
you
they
think
high
that they're...
quality historical sources? Are they high quality historical sources? No. Are they historical sources? Yeah. They're interesting.
So what leads you to say that they're not reliable?
Because they contradict each other.
Like in what way? Like in a meaningful way, or is it like someone said that Jesus was there at noon, the other person said he was there at 3 o'clock?
I mean, I would say that's pretty meaningful if we're talking about history.
Okay.
But yeah, like in also meaningful ways in terms of like who was there when we discovered that he was out of the tomb. Like that seems
Yeah,
important.
I've heard that brought up as a contradiction. I think Dean brings that up. I don't see how that's a contradiction. One mentions two of the women that went there, and the other mentions three of the women that went there. It doesn't say only two or only three though. Like it's just they're talking about different women at the time. I don't see how
It
that's like
says
a
no, but it says like this person, and this person goes, and then the other one says this person and this person goes. It's like okay,
yeah,
like
maybe all four of them went. I mean, that's not exclusive. That's not like a contradiction that can't be reconciled. That's just like they're
there are,
highlighting
but
different
we
people.
if we want to talk about gospel contradictions, we can. I think that's a pretty solid gospel contradiction, but there are a few other ones. But the point is like it's pretty clear that they contradict each other. Even you don't really deny that they contradict each other in some ways, just the significance of those contradictions.
Yeah, well, they're not infallible, but you wouldn't hold any other piece of history like to that level. Like if they give you an accurate gist of what happened, I think that they're reliable.
Yeah, but I would. So you you relate the standard of evidence to the extraordinary nature of the claims. There's that relationship, right?
I don't know if I would agree to that. Like, I
You don't
think
think
good.
that, or you don't think that if you say, I found $1 million on the road today, you would need to provide more evidence to me than if you said I found $1 on the road? Don't you think it's pretty reasonable for me to like
I
in order
think
for
I
me to
think if I
believe you?
if I had a picture of each of them, it'd be the same evidence with the same amount of power. Like it wouldn't I wouldn't need a million pictures just to show you that I have $1 million. If you have enough so how this works in the Jesus example is this: if I have evidence for Jesus alive, and I have evidence that he was crucified, and then I have evidence of him after the crucifixion being alive, then I
Oh,
don't think you need any
that's where you're
more.
difficult.
I don't think you need any more extraordinary evidence that like I don't see why it would follow that it needs like some additional evidence.
You don't think that more? So this is just like a fundamental. What is it called? Like humans razor. Like you accept the less extraordinary claim
Yeah,
because
but no,
basically
no,
here's
no,
the
no, no.
point.
You accept the less probable claim. If an extraordinary claim is more probable than any other option, then go for it, man.
But here's the thing: is by merit of it being extraordinary, it is less probable because it is contradictive to all other patterns of evidence.
Okay, let's get to brass tacks then, because I don't see how any evidence against the resurrection of like any other explanation for the missing body of Jesus after his death would have made
Do we
sense.
have
And
any
like
external historical accounts of the missing body of Jesus?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, outside of the Gospels, right? Outside of Christian
Oh, there's
scholars and
plenty. There's
Christians
plenty
at
of
the
not.
time.
No, there's plenty of Gnostic sources. Like, there's a lot of like historians that
Who?
that talk about, um, what's his name? Uh, gosh, give me 1 second. This is a bad look for me, but they're all Greek names. Um, Pliny is his name. Pliny the Younger. Um, there's, I know you probably have heard of Josephus, um,
Pliny the Elder?
the Younger. There's lots of accounts outside, but even if you, well,
Pliny, wait, do
I
you
don't
mean
want to jump
Pliny
to
the
that.
Elder, the Roman author?
Is that who I
Oh,
mean? I
and
know
then
his name
his
is
nephew
Pliny.
Pliny the Younger.
Yeah, he
Fascinating.
was like a Roman governor.
Great.
Okay,
Let's see what he said.
yeah.
Student lawyer. Okay, Pliny the Younger.
I'm pretty sure he was um alive like towards the end of the first century, and he was he was kind of dealing with the aftermath of like the original explosion of Christianity, which came after the resurrection, right? So he was documenting all of this.
Doesn't say anything about him accounting for I'm just reading the wiki, TBH, but let's see. Pliny the Younger.
Oh, well, I don't know if
Count.
Wikipedia would have it. Man, I wish I had stuff on hand to be able to like tell you like the name of like a book or something. But wait, can I ask you something though? Because I don't want to waste time on here. Why is it that it's so important for you to find an extra biblical reference for this? What is making the original explanation less likely?
Because they're extraordinarily motivated to provide a certain narrative. Because not only were the Gospels written by motivated people, but they were also organized and censored by motivated people.
Okay, can I give you... Have you heard the minimal facts argument for Jesus' resurrection? These are 6 undisputed facts, even from atheist scholars. And if you have a problem with any of these, then, or you don't think the conclusion follows, then you let me know, okay?
Sure, let's go.
All right, number 1, Jesus died by crucifixion. This is like a historically established fact, okay? This is like one of the most documented events. I won't explain everyone. I'll just read them off to you.
Okay. They're not. None of these are. To be clear, none of these are undisputed. Every single one of these are disputed. They are just accepted by some, and lots of atheistic scholars. So yeah, I genuinely agree that historical consensus.
Soon after the crucifixion, his followers claimed to have real experiences that they believed were appearances of the risen Jesus, and because of their belief, the Christianity was formed. Okay, so this isn't saying that they had these experiences. At least they claimed that they had these experiences.
Yes.
Okay.
I agree with that.
So as a three, despite having every inclination to the contrary, they were willing to be put to death specifically for their faith in the resurrection message. So
some were, and I disagree that it was every inclination not to, but
every inclination not to believe in like the resurrection, but you would
I know I
that,
disagree
right?
with that.
Yeah, okay. That's cool. 4. These events were proclaimed very early. These things were taught early following the crucifixion. So like there was living witnesses alive while these things were being taught. To me, this is a very important piece, because if there's living witnesses and there's this movement going on saying that Jesus is resurrected, but you have all these people who like could attest otherwise, I feel like it would be shut down really quick.
Well, they tried to shut down Christianity. That's why he was killed. Like, what do you mean?
No, I'm talking about post-crucifixion appearances. Paul mentions that he mentions names in his account, and he talks about how these are all the people you can ask if they've seen him. He appeared to over 500 people. If this was written in the time where those people were alive, like living witnesses, and these were letters that were passed around within like a couple decades or whatever of Jesus, like they would have been able to shut that down. These are people that were like there in Jerusalem while this was happening, right?
Yeah, wait, I don't see why other people hearing about you saying something makes them more able to disprove it.
Because they were living witnesses. Like this isn't just
they were living witnesses, and then people heard about the living witnesses and told other people about the living witnesses.
No, I'm saying...
Why would that be surprising?
Okay, I'm saying that it's more likely that the event actually happened, because if it hadn't happened, everybody else had every motivation possible to shut down Christianity, and if this stuff was clean...
That's convincing. That's more convincing than the fourth point that you brought. That point is wrong, but it's more convincing than the point that you brought. So if there are living witnesses, yeah, they're going to talk about it. Yeah, people are going to hear about it. Yeah, it's going to be taught as if it's truth by Christians. That's not surprising. What is surprising would be people who claim to have all material points against them, but still are Christians. And that's the really important part to talk about. And the difficulty here is there are a few accounts, right? There are very few accounts that you can specifically point to, right? That do this. And in those specific accounts, number one, not all of them are terribly historical, right? Not all of them have extraordinary amounts of historical evidence that those are the actual facts of that person's life.
Mm-hmm.
But secondarily, right, we have long history of historical accounts of people, martyring themselves for a religion. Lots and lots of people have died for Islam.
Yeah,
Lots and lots of
yeah.
people have died for Judaism.
Yeah, no,
Lots and
so
lots of people have died
yeah.
for Hinduism, right? So the fact that people were willing to do crazy things for religion,
Yeah,
yeah,
and that
okay,
and
cool.
that's that
Do
by
we just want to
itself.
do we just want to accept the religion with the highest death toll? I don't think so.
No, and I wouldn't accept that either, because someone could be completely mistaken, or someone could be, out of their mind, or just, tricked into believing something. Someone could believe something that's wrong and still die for it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. That's not proof that Christ resurrected, that they were willing to die for it. But it is proof that they sincerely believed in what they experienced. Okay, and I think that is evidence that needs to be explained. Why do these apostles sincerely believe in this resurrection experience? To the point of death. Like, the only explanation that I think I've heard come up with is that, like, it was like a hallucination or something, but that just doesn't really
Wait,
track.
why
Like
did they
that.
sincerely believe it? Why did they sincerely believe? These people that had risked their lives already. Let's talk about the apostles.
Yeah.
They had risked their lives already with affiliation with a known radical that was disliked by the regime. Okay? This known radical, Jesus Christ, had said that he would come back to them. He would rise again. And that he would be killed. Wow, look at that.
Okay,
He was
you
killed,
have to think about
right?
this in
He
a
was killed.
You have to think about this in a Jewish context, though. When Jesus
Oh. Yellow. Couldn't hear you. Keep going in and out. Oh. I don't know where he went. But I did really enjoy that conversation. And I do love you all. But I also am going to leave. That is a good exit. I have to leave and go off and do my work, actually, because I've been avoiding work for a few hours. Thank you. Thank you to the person. Thank you. I'm feeling good, everyone. Anyway. Do go follow me. Do go follow me in on my YouTube. That'd be great. I really appreciate everyone that follows me on my YouTube. Because I'm gonna go live there. I'm gonna probably try and do some exclusive lives on there, just because they do. They're better. Anyway. Bye.